What's up? Look, I'm in the studio. I got a guest. Flew
Hey,
24 hours to be here. So you guys can see, I'm sweating already. Ben, I don't think you can see Ben sweat through a shirt. Also, he doesn't like sweat as much as I do. So yeah, we are live from the studio. Ben Ferris is the first guest. I'm actually excited about this one. I'm going to play with this microphone way too much. So we got some new audio equipment to try out. This actually makes me really happy. What, about 20 minutes so far? Getting it all set up and working.
but it is working, which is good.
We think so. We think so.
Someone is live, so that is good.
It says we're live. We have 4 people watching. What's up, Marvin? So, yeah, there you go. I apologize that it's almost 11 p.m., but this is legitimately the first time we've had like 2 hours to sit down. Well, first to get things set up and then to sit down and actually just chat and talk. So, I do apologize for the hour. But here we are. Because I mean, we went racing twice, so
Yep.
that went to plan.
Yep.
But that's about it.
Yeah. Friday was only going to be practice anyway, so that didn't really go to plan. But
We were supposed to go racing Friday, but they rained out, so that one wasn't on us.
yeah,
And then yeah. Doug, I got your message in that, man. That's awesome. I love you, bud. I hope you're not planning on me helping you put that in anytime soon. I got so much to do. So I apologize. We can talk about it, but it's gonna be a fat minute before I've got time to be able to put it in. So yeah. Which, shout out to Doug. He was gonna let you borrow the car, and then I happened. Something happened. I don't know what I did that could have been the thing, but it happened.
but a credit to it, the car sounded good. It was running good until it wasn't. But yeah, I think I did say it to you before, but I do appreciate it, Doug. The thought goes a long way. Obviously, the car was there. And it, by all accounts, if it didn't go kaboom, it was going to be a weapon of a car.
Yeah, you were gonna do pretty good Saturday. I was pretty excited. I was unhappy with Dad's car. Just in the not unhappy with Dad. Just Dad's car just isn't. I don't have it quite what it should be yet. It's not right exactly there, and so it's not. It didn't have the speed that I was hoping for. So I'm actually glad we went to Springport just because I would have, I would not have had the output or outcome at Angola that I wanted. But I was pretty upset that we didn't get Doug in the faster car. Now I will say we gave you a little bit better car though Saturday.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. Kalamazoo was good. Like, don't get me wrong. I obviously didn't go winning, but it
didn't go losing either.
it didn't go losing. 14th isn't bad.
Yeah,
I mean, I finished the race. Others didn't finish the race.
yeah,
So
yeah.
But it was good to get on the track. Just the experience of being on the track and figuring out how things work, which definitely helped me for the next day.
Yeah. So I should back up slightly. If you're just tuning in, this is my buddy Ben, Mr. Ben Ferris. Ben is from Australia. If you couldn't pick that up by the way he doesn't sound like me. Ben showed up last year, and it rained for the week that he was here, and so went home, talked to the wife, made a pinky promise that if they sold the house, the wife would get some fun stuff, and he got to come back to America, and got the house sold, and so he came back, and so that's part of what we've been up to the last few weeks. Is I've been busting ass because Ben spent a lot of money to come over, and we wanted to make sure they had something to race. So, we're gonna laugh at this. We're just gonna bust around laughing occasionally. You guys, I hope you could hear it. Somebody is doing some pulls or some burnouts around Charlotte. I've never heard that before. Okay. It sounds so good. It sounds like a super late is just giving it the beans around here. That's what, a dozen?
Yeah. It's been going for about 40 minutes now.
Yeah. And it's that direction, this direction. Like they're driving around and just ripping. I because it's not moving. It sounds like they're doing burnouts. because it's not like it's just sitting there, absolutely just ripping. So occasionally you're going to hear me and Ben just start chuckling because we can hear them inside the studio, which is insulated, got the walls and everything up. So I'm kind of curious tomorrow. We'll be driving around. I bet we see some black marks.
Well, yeah, the other ones were moving, but it's not like it's not revving.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just getting ripped in one spot. Like it's a solid, continuous.
Yeah, they're
healthy
just
sounding motor.
Probably it sounds like it's super late. So yeah. Scott says my car's all ready to go. Just pulled outside of the way. You can do what you need to do. And the wife says, when are you supposed to be here? We got to figure that out because this one's on me. I mean, it's all on me, really. We didn't get the tow rig done, not for lack of trying. Like we put a lot of work in, just more work than I expected and a couple delays. So we got the old one tore apart, the new one halfway tore apart to put the motor in. But I forgot today to reach out. I got to get a tow rig for tomorrow. So I could probably borrow Dad's for tomorrow because we're not planning on driving Dad's as Spartan. I'm just taking Ben to Corrigan Oil Speedway. So odds are I can borrow Dad's truck tomorrow. But I forgot to ask. There, Scott says they have a truck available too. So if nothing else, I was going to try to borrow the same truck from Earl. So worst case scenario, we're going to drive to Springport, pick up a truck, drive back, and then pick up the trailer in the car and drive. So we'll be over there. But the plan tomorrow is to first thing we got to fix the dryer.
Yes.
I got my dryer's unhooked. I got to rehook it up so that Ben can have some clean clothes for tomorrow. And then we got to get a truck and go around. So you've been here since last week. I've had a lot of fun. I think you've had some fun. We got to do some pretty cool stuff. Showed him some freedom with the cannon. Yeah. Which is just
yes, got the bruises to prove.
We'll see if mine shows up on camera. Oh yeah, you can see the bruise there.
Yeah, mine's kind of gone away to now.
Yeah. So the cannon, if you don't know, fits on an AR-15, and it will launch a 12-ounce can projectile. Like that can of Mountain Dew I was just drinking, it will launch one of those. And a 12 ounce is a very heavy projectile. It kicks harder than you would expect. So we were doing some real fun stuff with that, some golf balls and whatnot. So yeah. And Lewis there is that's Top Row. So Lewis is Top Row.
Oh yeah.
So he says your Springport video is almost loaded, and both of mine are online. Oh, I did see that, Lewis. I have not had time to watch them. We did see that your Kalamazoo video was up. Have you shared that yet?
I didn't realize.
That was all of 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's a solid, solid rip.
What's up, Ryan? We met Ryan out to Springport. He was out hanging out with us. I felt bad because I was like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Ryan." I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
I'll jump on the Top Row and have a look and see.
Yeah.
By far, the Springport one would be more interesting to watch, I think, instead of me making an ass of myself at Kazoo.
Lewis, sincerely thank you for putting a camera in the car for both. I gotta figure. I got my GoPros in my backpack, so I gotta make sure and take it and get charged up so we can make sure that you have a GoPro for the next couple races too. Bob Pease.
Hey, Bob.
Bob, sorry you couldn't make it this time, bud. I really am. I'm happy that you got your garage where it won't hopefully burn down from electrical. But sorry you couldn't make it. You and Pete both. Sorry you guys couldn't make it. We'd had a lot of fun. Bob would have had a lot of fun if he'd went with us down to the junkyard.
Yeah.
To the undisclosed location.
The place.
So, yeah, the
place.
So the place. But yeah. Lewis, thank you for the videos and stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Even the pictures. How many times did your guys share that from over in Australia? Just the picture that you were here in the shitbox.
At least 100. There's more than that. It was my club picked it up, and then a lot of my friends picked it up from the club, and that's just gone all over the place. So
now, did they all share it from Top Row, or were they? Did they just take the picture?
I'm not too sure. I'd have to have a look at it. I'm pretty sure it was. I think they shared the post. They reshared the post.
Okay. Awesome. We just want to make sure Lewis gets credit for it. But that's the fun thing of being over here is I've been able to see it 12 hours later because They're 12 hours ahead of us.
Yep.
But to be able to see all the people that are just like, holy shit, our buddy Ferris or Ben is over there. He's driving, man. He's over there racing. And if only they knew what KZ was. So, yeah.
Like I said, well, we spoke to Monday night.
Chad. Ben cannot. Chad, we love you, buddy. He just cannot remember your name.
No, I'm horrendous with names. But we used it as a part of Chad's show that we went and had a look at. Used some of the footage there from Top Row, and Chad was like, "Oh, look at this crash of the week." I'm like, "Yeah, I was in that. That was me at the back."
So he said, "We're like, oh yeah, the big pileup at Springport." He's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Ben was in that." And he's like, "What?" Like they didn't even realize that. So when they did the wreck of the week, it mutes. He's using the same software we are, so it mutes him. And we're like, "All right, look." And I like walked up to the screen. I'm like, "Look right up here. You're gonna see him. He's gonna come in." I'm like, "This is Ben," and then boom. And so Ben was actually in the wreck of the week. So yeah, congratulations for that one. We did find out. So my new audio thing has a couple fun. Yeah. So just as that was fun. The little. So ooh, Bob has a video coming up soon. So and Denise says hello.
G'day.
Lewis Denise was the one at Springport that was like, say something, or at Kalamazoo that was like, say something. And then Denise and Bub were the ones that came out and hung out after the races with us out to Springport.
Oh.
The ones that the Red Wing ones, the hockey ones.
Ages,
so, yeah. Was talking to us a bunch. So Ben is a wheel in SOB, and Ryan says Ben did awesome. Fun to watch with that right rear messed up. So all right,
not fun to drive with the right rear messed up.
All right, but well, hey, the second time it was better. The first time when the right rear messed up. So I all right. So we'll recap a little bit. Took it to Kalamazoo on Thursday, which you flew in Wednesday.
Yep.
You left.
Yeah.
How many hours before your plane landed did you leave?
From Perth or from Australia?
Like from your house. How long did it take you to get to the airport in Detroit?
It was a total with layovers and stuff was about 40 hours, just under 40 hours.
So so close to 2 full days of traveling with like 24 hours on the actual airplane.
Yep.
Yeah,
so I went to work on Tuesday morning at 6. I worked through till 2. Went to the airport at 5, got a delayed flight, and then I arrived here. So I took off from my house in Kalgoorlie, 6 o'clock on Tuesday night, and I jumped off the plane here in Detroit at 5:30 Wednesday American time.
So
well, this time here.
Yeah. Michigan time.
Yeah.
Eastern, Central, whatever time zone I live in. So I told Ben beforehand, and even when he got here, I'm like, listen, we can go racing tomorrow. The car's ready. We got to go down. We got to like add fluids. We can do that. But I know that you've been forever on the airplane, all this jet lag and stuff. You let me know. And then we proceeded to stay up until like
2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 in the morning. Because we stayed up super late. It's like, all right, cool. So wake up, and he's like, and even then he's like, yeah, let's do it. We'll be fine. She'll be right. So awesome. So next day, get around, do a few things we got to, go down, grab the race car, head up to Kalamazoo. And, so Ben he'd kind of slept that night, like it was one where he definitely was iffy. And it wasn't, it was just a lot of travel because we went over and had to finish up Dad's car before. I don't know what the hell did we do? No, we just had to go down to get the truck, come back, get the trailer, go down and get the race car, head to KZoo. We met Dad over there. So listen, it's all been a blur. So we head over there. And, some of you guys know this if you've been watching. There are no pavement tracks in Australia. Oh, that was a quickie.
Yeah, sure.
Again, if yours stops, somebody is just ripping something around town, which just up my road, you've seen it, half mile up the road is the county seat, which is where the courthouse is. So that's where all the Eaton County sheriffs are. Charlotte has their own police department. There's a lot of cops in this town. I'm kind of surprised they're still ripping.
Yeah.
Whatever it is a sleeper, is my guess.
Wow.
The cops don't know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So, but they don't have pavement tracks in Australia at all. They just don't exist. There isn't any. So we went to Kalamazoo, and the first laps you ever turned on pavement were in my race car. Which probably was the worst choice you could have made. And you got 4 laps.
4 exhilarating laps.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, to be fair, it wasn't set up great, but it didn't have the issue with fueling and stuff, so it still drove all right.
Yeah.
I mean, time 26 or 25th out of 26, and I only didn't get 26 because someone didn't turn on the track.
Yeah, they didn't go out and qualify. So now, to be fair though, you were slow qualifier, but you were 25th, but like 23rd, 20 or 22nd, 23rd, 24th. We're only like 0.3 off. And for you never being on track and that car being bad, only being 0.3 off was not like, you did great for 4 laps because, okay, so here's what we fixed before Saturday. We took the car over to Scott and Misty's, put on the hoist. The right rear had dynamic camber, so it was flopping in and out. The left front brake caliper was locked up. The brake hose locked up, like in the air, you couldn't really turn it by hand by the tire. It had no front sway bar in it at all. The rear toe was messed up. I don't remember exactly how it was, but it wasn't conducive to turning very well. Did have a bump stop in the right front.
Computer.
And the computer
there was no bump stop in the rear.
Yeah, had no bump in the rear, which just helped it. But like that, it still would have been significantly better without that, with all the rest. But and a stock PCM. So he was hitting the limiter at Kalamazoo. No sway bar met and didn't turn. It would push once the loose from the right rear moving around was corrected. It was just an absolute handful. So I actually have saved this. I haven't asked you. I tried to because Ben asked a couple questions. Where do I go? What do I do? We tried to tell him you're gonna drive around here, you're gonna go up, you're gonna go out on the track. I didn't really give you a lot of instruction past that because I was trying to get Dad's car ready too.
Yep.
Because we were shaking down. I was racing Dad's car. So you strap in the car, you back up, pull around, and you go up. Walk me through as they wave you on the track, and walk me through those first 4 laps.
So we're on the wrong side of the car to start off with. So I'm on the left side of the car. I put it into gear fine. So first gear, I'm not used to shifting my right hand. I'm used to shifting left-handed, which is fine. But so I cruise around the pits, pull up, and they yelled at me about something. I didn't know what they were talking about because I couldn't really hear. Pulled out to the guy. He just told me to wait. And then he's like, go, go, go. I'm like, okay. So I looked up and the board said 15 minutes. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to go. So I just get out. It was a bit slippery to start off with. Obviously, I thought I better warm the tires up a little bit.
You also, that is the thing too, I want to point out. The tires that he's on are not new. They're a minimum of 2 years old, like 2.5 years old. So I don't even know how old the tires are. Like they were spares. They were what I tried to run at Rockford. So that is the other part of this, is that I have no idea how old the tires are that were on that car. So
it's just more. That's a lot longer.
It sounded closer too.
So I go out, just more of like a sighting in lap. Obviously, I haven't been on the pavement before, so I'm kind of looking at what line I should be at least rolling around.
We got there late too, so I couldn't we literally, there was cars on the track when we were going, so I couldn't walk around the track or anything. We didn't watch any videos. We've since changed that about Corrigan. So he's a little more set up for Corrigan tomorrow.
Yep.
But nothing. We didn't walk through because again, he landed the night before. We talked a bunch, then we went racing. So we didn't have a day or two to prep. So when you say a sight lap, you mean it, because we didn't. I don't know how much research you did beforehand, but we didn't do anything. I didn't show him Google Maps. I didn't really show him the line. I'm like, listen. Actually, I think I did do that. I do think we did that where I was like, listen, turn 4, it tightens up. Turn 2, you can walk out.
Yeah.
But that was it. So a Google Maps version of it, So
I'd looked at a few videos, but most of the videos were from the stand, so it wasn't really either that or they were strapped to a 10-second bloody car. So that wasn't really helpful. And even then, the videos aren't really, they don't give you the idea of banking and that kind of stuff because that's really different. Daunting as hell because I'd never raced with anything with a wall on the inside, so that was another thing I had to get used to.
And Kalamazoo's a wall on the inside. Like
Yeah.
it's waist high with a fence on top.
Yeah. So I didn't want to be hitting that, especially on the first night. So they sent it. They just told me to go. So I went. And it was really just to kind of feel out the car. It was loose, obviously, as we've now found out.
Because as Scott says, your dad Gordon and I were just talking about the CDC, or constant dynamic camber. So
It was loose, but I mean, I'm used to loose rear end on the car because of the dirt, so that didn't bother me too much. It was the push that I was getting.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, maybe it's just tires not warmed up. So I sent a few laps, 3 basically. I had one rollout lap and then 3 laps, and then they told me to go in, so I went in.
And then they're waving at you. Tech, talk, all this, because I legitimately, because you didn't come back.
Yeah.
Like, you stopped running around the track, and I'm like, where the fuck is Ben?
Yeah.
Like, where'd Ben go? I got to go find Ben. Like, I'm thinking you had to get pushed off because I didn't know they flagged you off.
Yeah.
Right. So I start walking over, like, where the fuck is Ben? And I see you rolling out of tech.
Yeah. So I roll through. The guy's just like, I'm like, I can't see you properly. Like, I'm like, all right. And I didn't know what I was driving onto. I had no idea. I just rolled up, and then he leans through the window and goes, "Hey, you single?" I'm like, what? Like, I'm married. Like, you're single or double? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, if you're single, you're under. If you're double, you're good. I'm like, and the other way around.
Other way around. Yeah.
If you're double, you're good. I'm like, okay. So we just go back to the pit. It turns out we were slightly under 25 pounds or something. And I'm like, well, good. I don't know what that is, but okay. We just went back to the pit.
That was he literally like, you're 25 pounds. And he's like, I don't know how much that is. Like, how many kilos? Can you hit the button and tell me how many kilos?
Like, cool. Can I go back to my pit now? Yes, go back to the pit. So we put fuel in it, put some put some petrol in it, and just went and sent it off the bat. But as soon as I got out there, it smashed the limiter on the final.
Yeah.
It hit the limiter, and that was it. It just the drop down that you guys were talking about, how it drops, and it just wouldn't pick back up. Obviously, the brake was jammed on, so that was not really going to help trying to take off at speed and stuff as well. So, well, I tried to do my best to stay out of everyone's way.
I mean, the first person, because there was 2 people that made contact.
Yes.
Who was the first one?
You.
I could kind of hear that through my headphones. Could you guys just hear that one? Yeah. Dude, I like the studio. We got to figure out the lighting. I just had my one big light. Ben and I were talking about that. I got to figure out the lighting. I love this though, because I can be in here and be like, ah! And I don't wake up my kids. So like I'm super excited to have a guest and all of that. So yeah.
So I hit Todd.
To be fair,
not on purpose.
To be fair, I buzzed him a little bit. I could have gave him more room. This is where I got to watch the KZoo footage, because you were sliding up some.
Yep.
But I can't say I wasn't actually continuing to go down, because I buzzed you. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because the first time around we gave him the old wave out the window. I was like, I hope he's seen that one, because I hope it wasn't like, oh my god, are those the other cars? Because unfortunately, we caught up to him very quick. You didn't stay on the lead lap long. Because that was part of it. We're like, talk strategy a little bit after qualifying, because we had the Ryan Preece autograph session. Like, they wouldn't let us on track again, like, because I ended up getting 4 laps qualifying as well. They wouldn't let us out on track for an hour and 20 minutes while they did nothing on track, which is cool. I understand it. Like, they had the Ryan Preece autograph session, but we had some time to talk then, and I'm like, all right, run it out until they tell you lap track, leaders are coming. Like, give it some test, and I was expecting it to be like 6, 7, 8 laps, and it was like, 3 or 4.
Not even that.
Yeah.
It was 2, but that was just,
Yeah.
I just had no power to go.
Yeah. I like this one with Bob. What's up, Chucky? Bob says, right now, that tech guy is telling a story about a guy who didn't know what double is and just said, okay. Why do I have green paint from Sam's rear bumper on my front bumper? Because you're not good. I mean, was that you beating the shit out of me under caution? Or it was like the first lap or two, dude. I was getting thumped. And the thing was, it was out of Springport. And the thing was, I was like, I'm not going to run this brand new front bumper into the guy in front of me. Like, calm down, whoever's back there. But I also don't care who's beating on my back bumper. You hit me square, that's on you. I don't care. You're back here, right? So we did talk a little bit of strategy at Kazoo. Hey, man, yeah, the tech guy that told you that was Bubba, the guy that came up and hung out with us at Springport. So,
okay.
So we'll back that up slightly. Ryan, we can talk about that because he says, so he missed most of the checkers and wreckers. How'd you all get hooked up and racing together? So we'll cover that one in just a second. So, no, you drove across my front end after passing me. I doubt that. I got to watch some video of that, Scott. I passed you and then I know I cleared you. Maybe, I don't know. I'm used to a mirror at this point. What other excuses can I make?
The sun
sun's in your eye. That's why I barreled in 10 seconds after the wreck on the upside. We're laughing about it. Everything's okay, but we're gonna make a joke or two about Ben's wreck at Springport. So if you're watching this and you were involved or the one hitting, no hate. Okay. Can you guys hear that? Like, have you heard that yet? When we stop, that dude is ripping. So again, no hate. We're making some jokes. If you want to, come talk to me. I promise you it's okay. No hate. I'm not naming names because I don't want anybody else to hate either. So yeah. All right. So give you some strategy for Kalamazoo. The backup that I was gonna do, the little bit of backup, the tech situation. Dan Rigoni comes down and talks to me because he knows that's my car. He comes down, he's like, hey, that's a dual cam, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you're 25 pounds light. And I'm like, shit. So I told him, I'm like, okay, I'll see what we can do, And I asked a couple people around me. Nobody had any lead. We put probably 2.5, 3 gallons of fuel in. Not enough. And I walked down to Dan, and this is a huge shout out to Dan. And listen, guys, I'm normally one that's like, hey, you need to be legal. But I'm telling you, Dan made the right call in this situation. And I hope that him and other tech guys grant you the same grace they granted us. I told him, look, we don't have any lead. I apologize. We're going to be 10, 15 pounds light. I promise you, Ben's not winning this thing. Like, he's the slowest qualifier. He's just going to try to learn. He's got a bad car. Like, I'm sorry. He's going to be a little bit light. And Dan gave us the grace of, you're good. And I told Dan, because I have a chunk of lead here at home. I don't know if you've seen it, but I got a chunk here at home. It's easily 25, 30 pounds. I told him, I'm like, we'll make sure the weight is, we'll be good for tomorrow at Corrigan. Like, I promise you, tomorrow won't be an issue. I mean, that car was perfectly legal otherwise. No issues. We're just a little bit light. So now the other part is, if I was racing Doc, if my big fat ass was sitting in there, he'd have been perfectly legal. Ben's like 100 pounds lighter than me. So that's part of it. But Dan was cool about it. He was like, no, I get it, man. You're good. And so I'm like, we're slowest qualifier. He's not picking up, LZ went a 14.9. Ben went a 17.1. So no real risk of picking up that much time in Doc. Because we told him that if he went a 17.1 at Spark or at Springport on Saturday, and we decided to go there, I was like, listen, you go 17.1 in Doc, I'm done. I'm selling everything I own. I'm getting out of racing because I don't know what I'm doing. He didn't, so that's okay. I get to keep racing. So yeah, Scott said, well, so Scott, the weight, the 2250 for Corrigan will be okay tomorrow. The issue was at Midwest because it was the national series. They were there at the next Friday. They were there last Friday, so we would have had to have been more for the national series. That was why we're perfectly fine for regular racing. Just the traveling series were slightly light. So whatever their weight rules were, which it could have been 2250. So yeah, Scott says, I told you if he went 18-0, I would trade cars. So we did look. Actually, we didn't look. If anybody has live timing from my race pass, they could look at Springport what he went, because he qualified at 19-1 out to or 19-2. 19-2. So 19-2. And both. All right, we'll get to Springport in a second. So Keizu, we're back. So I just had to say that thank you to Dan for helping us out a little bit. So we send you out in the feature, which I asked him, I was like, do you want me to do anything to the car? And he's like, I don't know. I don't think so. We did talk about the cutting out issue. And I'm like, look, if it does this, it's a stock, because the stock PCM, you hit the limiter, it drops 500 RPMs and then it picks back up. So it's bow, whap, bah. Like it's big. And it was only like 6,800. So I told him, I'm like, look, there's not a lot we can do with that. Just kind of try to pull the throttle back, blah, blah, blah. So Amanda, how fast did he go in the feature? That's the one we were curious about, was how fast he went in the feature, because I couldn't look up the lap times from the feature for the previous feature. Mom had the live timing for the feature that was up, so I could look at my lap times, but I couldn't look at his. So I don't know how fast he went in the feature. So
I don't know if it's going to be faster. That's all right.
I don't either, but I am just curious. And so we sent Ben out for the feature. Now, walk me through the first little bit of that, because we did give you a little bit of advice there, like, hey, you're going to line up here when we all go out. You'll be on the tail. Because the other part was the guy who parked just a couple cars down from us, Don, I think his name was.
Yep.
He had never raced before, so we're like, yes, Ben's first time on pavement. He's like, that's cool. I've never ever raced anything. So we're like, oh, this is good. So you guys started at the back. So was it more or less intimidating, kind of pulling out for the feature with a full field of cars kind of in front of you?
I've raced some crappy races before and been lapped by people, so it wasn't too bad. Again, my biggest concern was I just wanted to stay out of everyone's way. So I was more conscious about making sure I stuck to a line and stayed consistent rather than slipping and sliding all over the track, because the last thing they need is some idiot sliding from the bottom wall up to the top wall and back to the bottom wall. I think I did a reasonable job of it with what I could do. I think I got a bit close with a couple other cars doing some interesting stuff, but
there was we lapped you a few times, and it was legitimately, when I'd come around and watch, because the first little bit for me, the front pack kind of got away, and I just didn't care. Like, the car wasn't quite what I wanted, and so we were trying to not burn. I was trying not to burn the car down. It's like I wasn't using the brakes. I didn't even glow the rotors. You guys have ever watched me race at Kalamazoo? Okay, I wasn't, like, we were just kind of rolling. What I was watching is you were honestly doing just fine. It was pushing some. I knew you were trying to figure the car out while trying to keep it under you.
Yep.
It was pushing some, but I think most of the guys watched you push up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody did get under you at one point. They kind of made you 3 wide at one point.
I came out of 4.
I passed you underneath one time too.
Yeah, there was only a couple though. Yeah. I came out of 4 and I was a bit wide because it washed up, and I saw him. So I saw the bonnet, the front of the car come through.
You can say bonnet. It's okay.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
That's all right.
I saw the front of the car come up underneath me, so I made sure I stayed and didn't freaking go all over the place. So as soon as they came past me, it was good. Then I could drop back down into that groove and just get out of everyone's way. So that was my goal. I just wanted to turn some laps, but then also just stay out of everyone's way and not cause havoc. I don't think I did. There was guys popping and blowing crap everywhere. Coming down, I came down the back straight when the big wreck was there, and I had the sun in my eyes. They called out. I think they started yellow. They went red afterwards. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it was yellow, red, guys. So,
and then they yelled at me because I didn't stop. I was on the corner and I was rolling still. That was me that yelled out,
Okay. I don't know why I didn't know. It wasn't. They didn't say 79.
didn't they?
No.
Oh, I thought
I
they,
would have known if they said 79 because I'd have give you crap. Because whatever number they said, it wasn't 79.
I thought they yelled at
So
me, but I was like, all right, whatever. But yeah, I come around the corner and the sun was in my eyes, and like I actually asked your dad. I was like, "What's the best thing if someone wrecks here? I'm assuming you kind of you want to go high because they're going to roll low." And he's like, "Oh, sometimes."
yeah.
So I just went high, and there was just enough space for me to slide around
Yeah.
them. I didn't hit anyone.
Should have went low the
so.
second night.
Well, well,
Yeah, it's so Kalamazoo is that way where like it really does depend on it depends on what the wreck is, and it depends because like like if you get turned around, you can go up the hill real easy and then lock the car down up there. So like it really is, there isn't a do this at Springport if a wreck is happening in front of you.
they're all
So
over the place.
yeah, yeah.
Kalamazoo anyway. So I went high, stuck to it. Obviously, that's usually what causes dramas for people is they can't pick a line. They go bottom or top, bottom top, and then they just drill into the back of someone. So this is where I'll stick the top and see how we go. It worked out.
Yeah.
So.
And like I said, the first contact you made with me, I will easily take 50% of the blame because I buzzed you. Like it wasn't even. It was just like, yeah, dude, I'm a buzz you. So, and that's Alicia. Alicia here is Chad's wife that was hanging out with us, and then Chad down here is Chad that we hung out with on Monday. So, welcome,
Chad. Hello,
Chad, and
I'll say your name a few times and I will remember Chad.
Hopefully, so
Chad won't forget me.
I like Sean's question. So ours is a left side weight rule. Is Ben's a right side weight rule?
I have no bloody idea.
Their weight rules and stuff are quite different. So yeah. Ah, crap! I did forget to message Earl and ask about the Vegemite.
Yeah.
There's a mosquito flying around here.
Yeah.
We were gonna leave the door open and then bugs were getting in. So you might see my sweat stain get a little bigger. But and listen, I didn't tell you yet. I left the Tim Tams down low. There's like 4 of them bad boys missing. So I had one this morning for breakfast, and then I kind of hid it so that there's 3 left. I'm getting at least one more of them bad boys.
When I get home, I'll send you.
Yeah, we're gonna start a Australia to America pipeline for things like Tim Tams. Don't worry, we're gonna bring in the good stuff, guys and gals. So yeah, and the brakes were definitely glowing Saturday on my car, especially when we found out that Dad's like, you didn't even have the brake blowers on? I'm like, I had them on the entire time. I checked multiple times, and yeah, it's because the brake blowers didn't have the blower part anymore, and the motor part, but not the fan part. So yeah. So Alicia, I love this idea. You just love the idea of a constant supply of Tim Tams. Like, don't worry, I do too. Like, I get it. So we went on to feature. Todd buzzed you, a little rub, which I still do. I was legitimately laughing in the car, like boop. I'm like, hee. And then we go down the back stretch, and I'm like, I swear to God, if I just popped a tire, I'm gonna be so pissed. And it wasn't even like I'm gonna, I'm gonna be mad at Ben because I didn't give him the room I should have, but a little bit of contact. You had a little bit with me, and then one other driver, just a touch, no big deal. How did it go for you? Learning the car more and more and more as you went throughout the race, because even though you were trying to stay out of the way, trying to stay down, you were still also trying to get the car under you to still try to figure out how to drive this thing and all that.
I couldn't figure out. Obviously now I know what the reason was why it was like flicking out the back end. I thought, oh, that's just what it is. But seeing every other car grip in and go, there was obviously something not quite right there. But my biggest thing was just hand position on the wheel, how much I needed to turn it in, because there was no quick steer, there's no power steering. And it took me most of the feature to figure out where I needed to have the wheel. And when it worked, I was like, oh, light bulb, dumbass, why didn't you do that the first time? And obviously that worked the following night we raced. It made a big difference. So it's just...
Also, I would say the push in the first night was probably 70% the car, 30% Ben realizing he had to actually turn the wheel a little farther, and then the push was 100% the car.
Yeah.
So, Dad, the plan for Owasso was 1 car, but if you would like it to be 2, we can talk tomorrow. So, that's fine. We can plan 2. I'll message you tomorrow and we can talk about it. So, And Kyle, I can tell you what is not good fans for brakes, and it's whatever the hell my dad bought off Amazon, because they lasted Kalamazoo, but they did not last Kalamazoo and Springport. So, so we get through the feature, and afterwards, like, how did you feel finishing that race, finishing 14th, actually finishing the race too? Like, not like, no bullshit, just, a few laps down, which is fine, but all the jet lag, all the travel, 40 hours of travel, hit the track, 4 laps of practice, we run the feature. Like, what was going through your head? What were you feeling at the end of that race?
Honestly, I was thinking, what the hell do I do to the car? Like, it's when I was doing the qualifying laps, it felt okay, like power wise, and I was like, I've done something to it. I don't know what it is. But honestly, just I was stoked to just finish, like to get some laps in, take a checkered flag, not piss too many people off, and then be able to drive it into driving the trailer. Ultimately, that was my biggest thing. I just wanted to make sure I didn't wreck it on the first night.
Nobody tried to come fight you. Nobody even came down to be like, dude, what the fuck?
I was disappointed. I was ready to. That's not a challenge for tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I'm just.
He was ready last week. He had some airport anger to get out this week. So
no, I was stoked. I wasn't exhausted, which I thought I was going to be absolutely cooked, but I had running on adrenaline. And,
yeah. Because then we came home, and my wife and kids were gone that night. We stayed up again until like 3 in the morning.
Yeah, we were up for a while. But that was because I couldn't bloody sleep.
Yeah.
That was the next night.
Yeah, because you were trying to, that was the thing, being that far off. You're like, yeah, no, dude, like my body's awake now. And I'm like, I don't normally sleep anyway. But dude, I can tell you, Friday morning, we both were like, I am so glad Spartan canceled.
Yeah. It's, I mean, we run 12 hours behind what we are now. So back home at the moment, it's 11 o'clock in the morning or something. So 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. It's Friday over there at the moment. So a full 12 hours backflip is a bit to get used to, but wasn't too bad. The Friday morning was
yeah, because you finally got to fall asleep, and then it just, like, all of it caught up to you. It did me too, because like I had some late nights, and
couple.
To be fair, we haven't. Scott, I would appreciate if you retyped out whatever it was you just commented, because I'm like, as long as I don't wide it up tomorrow night, this car go jumping yours and bring it to have fun for yourself. I'm assuming you were like kind of maybe talking to dad or something, but I was like, Misty, is he having a stroke? I'm going to need you to check on Scott.
That's when you just go, hi. Yes.
Yes, Scott. Maybe.
Definitely maybe.
Yeah, definitely maybe.
Nah.
There's like 5 things I've been saying that I don't know if Ben's annoyed with me yet, but that's okay. I'm still gonna say them. She'll be right. I'm probably gonna add that one to my vocabulary. So we wake up, Friday, Springport or Spartans canceled, which ended up working out well. Put the car up on the hoist. Found the camber, which was kind of fun because I was like, I'm curious, and I kicked the right front. I'm like, nope, that one seems solid. Kicked the right rear, and it just goes funk. And I went, I think I found part of the problem. I think I found the loose in, but not the tight off. But this definitely isn't helping. So we found some stuff wrong on the car. So like that, I mean, that had to feel a little vindicating to know that, like,
I'm not that crap.
Yeah, you're not that bad. Like, hey, this car is exactly as bad as Todd told me it was. So.
And the funny one was the wheel, the front left wheel. We jumped up and did something, and I was getting off the hoist, and I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that normal? I said to your dad, is that normal? He's like, nope.
He had me come over. I'm like, that was a little tight. And then I tried to back it off, because I was gonna like, well, we'll pop this off or whatever. And like, I tried to back it off, and I couldn't get it to move. So cracked the bleeder, and it was a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. Scott, what you're saying, but I love my dad, but he even got the prognosis tonight, or doctor today. Like, I want my dad to be able to race next season, all season, because his shoulder's not messed up. So I know my dad's feeling the heat of, everything like that. So, but I love my dad. I want him to pick up his grandkids next year. So that's part of it. Dad and I will talk because I don't want to mess up his car. So, because I want him to be able to race it next year. So that'll be part of it. But yeah, the brake caliper too. We popped that because it was the line, which the line looked pretty new. I was actually surprised it was a line. Because that was the thing is I like kind of cracked it. I was like, yep, definitely a ton of pressure here. So the caliper moved. When I cracked it, the caliper moved. I'm like, okay, cool. Like it's the line. Because the master cylinder, the way it's set up, we would have issues on one of the other three corners. So dude, Scott, spirits are up because like if the fast guy doesn't show up, we might go to Wausau and collect some money. Hey, dad made okay money on me last weekend. Not like the best money, but he made okay. Like we started paying that Bristol trip back. So he made a lot more off me than I made off Ben. I can tell you that. Springport didn't pay the B, 10th in the B didn't pay quite like 14th in the A for the national race, but that's okay. So we get the car. We didn't get to make it out for practice, because we thought we were taking Ben out because I was like, yeah, you're not gonna have to drive this till next week, and yeah. So we get it all fixed up. We go get it fixed up for Saturday. Now, Saturday, we had Doug help you go up there, kind of show you the track and where you're going and stuff. So probably a little less intimidating. But what did you think pulling up in the chute for practice? Because we actually got there on time for both practices.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. Because I'd seen the single lane down the end, and we're just Brown's cows parked up wherever. I just followed whoever's going out and see how we go. And then we got to the other side where there was the lanes, which made more sense. But I'd seen the track, so I knew that. I saw the guys; they were waving to us and whatever, so I kind of knew when to go, when not to go. But yeah, I was keen to just get on the track and see if we'd made much of a difference.
How long did it take you to figure out that we did?
Oh, like one lap, just straight away.
Turn one when you came on the track.
Yeah, pulled in and it turned. Give it a boot full, and the thing just took off. So I was like, oh, this is good. Then I consciously had to go, all right, make sure you warm the tires up. Don't be an idiot.
Same tires from the night before.
Yeah. But then also to make sure I left a gap between myself and the guys in front. Honestly,
because we did work through a little bit in group qualifying of like, hey, your group practice, like you don't have to jump up on the guy in front of you, leave a little bit of space. So we did talk about that aspect a little bit.
We had 40 something cars there, though 46 cars or something. So there was a few of us going through. After a lap or two, I didn't feel too worried about if someone was going to come up and smack me in the back of the arse. I thought, oh, good luck to you. I'll just send it and see how it goes. But I was catching guys
immediately.
So I felt like it was pretty good. Coming after practice and said, look, I can go faster, so I'm good. But it felt nice. It drove smooth. I'd figured out how to put the hands on the steering wheel correctly, and it was better, way better, like chalk and cheese. You heard that before?
No, but
chalk and cheese.
I'm learning all kinds of new stuff. Which, by the way, big shout out to Scott and Amanda Weatherwax, Scott Gates, because we went to get fuel in Springport. Yeah, the gas station there only has 87, and the car dock is stock. Like that motor is stock, right? But the PCM's got some timing in it, so we want to run at, we just run premium gas in it. That's it. Just pump gas. Well, we were running some 110 because I snagged some that we shout out to Doug, because I used the gas that we took out of his car that I was like, listen, we're not putting this in your car because there's a chance it's possessed. It wasn't a gas. So we did have a little bit of 110 in it, but we used up just a couple gallons. So they didn't have 87. They only had 87, and I wanted premium. So Scott, shout out to Scott for giving us like 3 gallons of premium that we used out there at Springport. So yeah, as my dad said, Dad's learning all kinds of new new words too. Because I'm laying under the car, under your car, I did adjust the rear steer that we put in for Kazoo. Like I looked at it, I was like, this is wrong. Like I need to undo, like I need to change this a little bit for at Kazoo. And I was like, hey, no, it was at Springport. Was it Springport? Anyways,
Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
I was like, and I hold up a crescent wrench and I was like, hey, go grab. I thought I said grab crescent wrench, but I says, hey, you grab this or whatever.
Grab the other one.
Grab the other one. It's over there. And he goes, okay. And he goes over and he asks Dad for he goes, you got a shifter spanner? Dad goes, huh? And he goes, shifter spanner, adjustable spanner. And Dad just goes, huh?
Shifter.
Now he knows, like, but yeah, so Dad just looked at him, and meanwhile I'm laying under there, like, I swear to God, it was just like, I think I can see it right there, and he finally comes carrying it back, and I was like, actually, we're good. I figured out I could just do it with the one because I found a way to crack it loose or whatever, but I was just like, good golly, like, what is and then Dad's over there just like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. He come over here just speaking Chinese, and I just didn't know, so. Yeah, we made the car. We changed the rear steer for Springport too. Because I did realize that the left rear was fighting the right rear. It was towed to the left and the right was towed to the right a little bit. So I got the left basically zero toe, but I added just a touch. So we had a little bit more rear steer for Springport too. So added a bump stop in the right rear. Added a little bit more camber in the right front too. Got the toe better for you. The left front no longer was dragging. The right rear was no longer dynamic at first. So we had 2 practice sessions, and both sessions you ran up on somebody and doing the smart thing. The first session, there was actually 2 guys racing kind of side by side. So got to him, backed off. Second session, Ben hung back a little bit too far. Guy jumped him. Guy didn't know what he was doing exactly. That's okay. Ben then followed him and he held you up. So definitely could have went a little fast, but you went a 19.4 and change, got down to a 19.2 and change. So picked up a couple tenths. And Amanda did say you went a 19.5 in the feature, so you didn't get faster. But so we go out second practice. I mean, you had to be getting a little bit more confident in the car. Pick up a couple more tenths. Like
that was 19th quick.
Yeah.
So
well, that first session was 19th. Second session, he qualified 19th.
Yeah.
Because he comes in, he's like, and again, the whole thing, like, oh God, I'm kind of like, because he even told me, I don't want to be in the way. I don't want to be the last car. And then I'm like, well, you're gonna be at Kazoo. Good luck, right? But that was the deal with Springport. Is I was like, dude, you're not gonna be the slowest car. Like, I know some of the guys out there. I know what Doc is capable of in Kazoo form. Like, you won't be. And so, top half of the field. First session had to feel good. Then to qualify there, feel pretty good. And then we start third quick in the B main. So going into the B main, and I want to point out too, I've told Ben all along, I have no expectations for you. Like, you don't have to worry that if you come in and you don't go X time or you finish X position, like if you don't tear the car up, brother, we're good. Like, that's what I care about. I would rather you make a smart decision and finish dead last then go for it and total the shit out. Even going for the lead, I'd rather you finish last than total it out going for the lead. But I also told him, drive it like it's yours. Like, somebody wants to do some shit, do some shit. Like you can party if they want to party. Because that was like, hey brother, if they want to party and you have to party with them, I'll be ready to party when you get in the pits. Like, I don't have my cars done if I got to sit out the rest of the year and not drive Dad's or somebody else's or not drive Doc for the rest of the year at this track because I got to party with somebody. Party, So keep that in mind if you think you could do something to fight him tomorrow, or Wattsel Saturday. But that was the whole thing. Is like, dude, I don't have expectations of you. Like, even start before that B main, I literally told you, like, I know you're starting third. Like, you could go to the front if things are right. Like, you could. The car can do it. You have the speed. However, about 5 of those guys are also capable of running a second faster than they did. So just know some of those guys, if you push them, you're going to black flag them. There was also maybe 1 or 2 guys that were like, all right, so this guy's probably going to do some crazy stuff. That guy's probably going to do some crazy stuff.
Yep.
And were we wrong?
Well, yes. No. Well, unless you call someone spinning on their roof crazy, then no.
To be fair, that guy didn't start that. Somebody else did. But that guy, the other guy that started that whole thing, went 2 tires in the dirt. So that's the other thing is that was the wreck of the week was Guy with 2 tires in the dirt, slid up, tagged a guy. He tagged a guy. He tagged a guy. A guy rolled. Ben was late to the party, and he stopped basically up against the wall. And another car didn't hear the radio call, didn't see all of the calamity, said the sun was in their eyes, which sun was bright. We'll kind of got a mosquito on your nose. There you go. I looked over. I was like, "Are you like bleed?" And I almost whacked you right in the face, but I figured I'd just you're a little farther away. But yeah. So, but he come piling in pretty late and drove over Ben's left front. So we'll also back that up slightly with the feature. You went out, and you can walk us through this in your point of view, but as a car owner sitting up in the grandstands, because that was Kalamazoo, I only got to watch as I was passing. We all ran the A main. I was in the grandstands for his race, the B main, on Saturday, because we were the last race of the night. So I actually got to watch your entire race, and I watched you. I didn't watch anybody else. But you started out, went green, just kind of laid back for a lap or two. And the couple of cars around him went, and there was some calamity. I mean, guys were 3, 4, 5 wide. Ben was smart. He just hung back for a minute and then decided to go. Things cleared out a little bit. And I mean, you caught the guys in front of you immediately, like just immediately. But went in at turn 1, from my point of view, got pushed up about 3 wide, up into about the 4th groove. The issue there that happened, hit a big patch of floor dry, which again, I'm not faulting the track for this. This was literally in like the 5th groove. Like this was like a car length away from the wall. But it slid the right rear, and then it hit the pavement on the other side, the dry pavement, and just hopped. And when it did, we brought that CDC back. That's what we're fixing tomorrow. The dynamic camber came back. Worse, because now the front end actually turned too. So that happened. It kind of hopped a little. So go down turn 1, this thing hops. You don't know that you've got dynamic camber again. Walk us through the next half a lap here.
Yeah, well, even getting into that corner, I'd laid back a little bit just to see what I was up against, and then thought, all right, I can have a crack at these guys. So they were just smashing around down the bottom, and I figured, well, I'll have a crack up top. I did have a bit of grip there before, so I went high, and that's when I got pushed up. So I bounced, got a bit shaky, came out on the back straight, and went, all right, no worries. Turned in. I thought, this is good. Turns in, but it kept turning.
It just kept turning in.
The back came around, and I was actually looking at the infield. I was sideways.
Was it a lot less like where you were just like, oh, this isn't so bad, because you weren't staring at a 4-foot wall?
No, but I knew exactly what had gone then. The fact that I was completely sideways, I'm like, hopefully there's no one there.
Completely. Dude, you were 50, 60 degrees sideways.
So I was like, all right, let's flick a bit of right hand into this and just keep on it and send it and flick it back and just whip it back into shape. And then went, all right, I know what's going on. Let's giddy up and get used to that.
It took 2 or 3 laps to kind of get under you the what is going to happen, because Kalamazoo, you turn in, but like you always kind of kept turning. But Springport, like you straighten it out, and then you turn in. So couple laps, get it under you, then you start to go under the guy.
I felt like I was trying, like he was washing up. I was trying to line him up, take the apex and go under a bit more, and then the wreck happened in front. He jumped on the brakes. I think he hit someone as he went up, and I went up closer to the wall just to get away. Because I heard red, because obviously I saw the car and stuff upside down. I saw wheels up the wrong way.
Yeah.
Obviously something's happened.
You were pretty far back, like not like, oh my God, you were so back here, but you were straight away behind the pack.
Yeah, so I could see it as I came around the corner before they called anything. So I was like, well, I'm going high to get away from that. So I kind of stopped up towards the wall, and as I was coming to a halt up the wall,
things aren't getting weird. I just have a big belly, and it was like my belt was poking into us. Like, things aren't getting weird in here. Don't worry.
Once I kind of stopped up towards the wall, then I was kind of getting settled, because it was a good second. And then the next thing I know, there's a car just launched off my tire and motocrossed over the top of the front of the car. So that got me a bit. My shoulder was a bit sore after that, but I was like, oh crap. So I look up to the right and I see you guys going, hey, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. but my front wheel. Like, I'm sorry.
So I'm like, dude, he missed. Which, by the way, when you went in and that thing went sideways, myself, and then I was sitting with Mike and my friend Kira and stuff like that. Whoa, pro discussion after hours start early with the releasing of the belt. Listen, that's usually in the subscriber group. Okay, I'm just saying. Which, by the way, we are going to do some stuff in the subscriber group in the next few days. We do have some stuff planned. It has been exceedingly busy since he got here. When you went down there, because I was like, shit, and then like you hopped up and I'm like, okay, like might just jump. You went down into turn 3. I literally turned to Mike and I was like, right rear broke loose. Because it went too. Like, it was immediate, it was noticeable. And then, and then again, you're just figuring out the car, go to drive under the guy, go to set him up a couple times. Had a good run once or twice. He stayed a little low, and instead of doing something stupid, Ben backed out. Wreck happens, and we watch him go over, and it's all just like, what the fuck? So then I'm like, oh wait, he's right there by the wall. So I go running down, and it's like, are you okay? Like, that was my main concern. It was the first thing I asked, not like, what the fuck did you do to my car? So, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like and he's like, I don't know about that. I'm like, that's cool. So I actually walked around the front and I look, and they're not like this, or something weird. It's not, it wasn't flat. So come back, like, it has air. Toe doesn't look that bad. But I also was like, yeah, so the right rear is moving on you. Like, just so you know, if you didn't already. But yeah, and then he's like, oh man, I was like, it's not your fault. Like, I didn't know who all was around me. And I'm glad I didn't say anything in the moment. But I was like, it wasn't your fault. Like, you were fine. Wasn't your fault. Take some time, feel the car out. If you don't pass anybody, you're fine. Just, feels goofy, pull off, but ended up finishing. Started, I think, 13th, finished 10th.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, even the 10th, like, I was catching the guy in 9th.
Yeah.
Like, I was on his ass the whole time. Kind of
you could have pressed the issue to probably finish 9th or 8th.
Yeah.
But
there wasn't really any benefit of it. Like, it was just,
I might have made $5 more.
Maybe. I'll do that later on.
But it's like, I'll give you $5.
It was just, I just didn't feel comfortable being able to get underneath him, because then if I got enough, because I knew I wasn't going to just gap him, I'd have to be pretty even with him. And as soon as my back end went flying out, he was going to do something stupid. So I thought, I'll just stick with him and just
going under somebody. If you go in the corner and they hold you tight with the right rear walks out, it's a good recipe for totaling out 2 race cars.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't going to be good. So I was happy to just stick with it. And obviously the car was a bit of a handful, but we got through it.
So we were laughing too, because we'd watch you come out of turn 2 and hit that crack on the backstretch, and it just runs straight down the backstretch. But if you put your wheels in it, it'll wiggle. And dude, we're just watching you come out of the corner and just like the first little bit. So was it dirt reminiscent? Were we having fun? Because I got to imagine that Saturday was a lot more fun than Thursday was.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm used to that though. Like, you come out the corner in a dirt thing and it just kind of pulls you to wherever the hell it's going to take you. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it
may be good. Sometimes it may be shit.
Yeah. It might drag you through towards the wall. So you got to be ready for that. At least this, I kind of had an idea what it was doing. So it was all right. It was good. Kept me wanting more. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, I told you this. I've told other people this, like, so Bob did finish a race. I did realize this. So Bob did finish a race. The car was not right. So I unfortunately, I do have to give Bob the title of first person to finish a race in, and there was only like 8 cars. So he did technically finish higher than you. He was dead last, but there was only like 8 cars. So it's one of those but you were, you were the first guy to finish 2 races for me as car owner. I'm not used to this role. I was exceedingly happy with what you did both days. The car might have another scratch on it from, and then Saturday was not your fault at all. Like, I do not know what you could have done to avoided what happened under the caution. Like, it probably did save him a massive headache from not destroying the wall with the car. I don't know how I don't know how you'd have stopped if you weren't there. So like that was probably best case scenario. So listen, the old checker records there. Maybe you should set up a right-hand drive for him next time. Listen, if you guys don't think we've got some talks about some right-hand drive cars, they may not be in the States, but you guys don't think we've been talking the entire 7 days we've been together. There's some plans, there's some ideas, there's some there's some stuff. So and Ryan says, if you ever make it back and want to rip in another car, you're more than welcome to come to try out the Mini Cooper. We'll have it up at KZoo soon. There's the chance that we'll get Ben back at some point. The goal is to get Mini over there. It's just, well, I've got about $12, so I'm almost there. It's a future thing, but there's the options there, and we'll see moving in the future what happens. So we do appreciate all that. Do keep that in mind. And we did have some offers too. We had other people that, hey man, make it an M40 for practice and we'll get you in this. We've had some, if we're not mentioning names, don't be offended. It's just, I don't know if everybody wants it out there. I didn't ask. But we've had some people offer to let you drive cars.
Yep.
Part of that is that they're a lot better cars than Doc. There is that a little bit of trepidation of, if I fuck it up, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't want to break someone's car.
Yeah, and we're having fun. We're going to make the car a little bit for spark. Now, the other thing for Corrigan tomorrow too. Yeah, yeah. Scott says you need a bigger flag for next time.
Well, I didn't.
Scott's got like a 15 by 40 flag.
That thing was the size of a circus tent.
Yeah. That he was flying. We have pictures of you with the Australian flag underneath it. We had to take it down. It was because the American flag was just sucking up all the wind. So, yeah. But I do want to let everybody know with Corrigan, we are going to make the car handle as best we can tomorrow. We're going to make sure the camber's where it needs to be, toes where it needs to be. We're going to fix the dynamic camber. We're just going to tack weld them washers on there so it can't move. But I'm not changing transmissions. So it's got the wrong gear, but we do have a set of 23s. So he's going to have a little bit of RPM. But the goal with Corrigan tomorrow, again, is just we're going to have some fun.
Yep.
So,
yep.
We've done a few other fun things. Went and you went and helped me work on my van for a little bit, which got to hang out with Culp, with John and that. So we had some fun down there.
It wasn't massively helpful. There was some stuff I could do. Just take bits off. And
at one point he's like, I don't even get my hands dirty. I don't even wash my hands or whatever. I'm like, you're here. So
undo bits and bits.
Yeah. So Ryan says thanks for the sticker.
That's all right. I've got some more. So if anyone comes out to either Corrigan or where we're going next after that, I can't remember.
Owasso Speedway.
Yep. So I've got some stickers there and some little koalas to chuck around. So yeah, come and say hi. More than happy to have a chat, even if it's just to poke me with a stick and say, "Hey, bloody say something." I'll talk to you
3 or 4 times. Say something. Dance for me, monkey.
What do you want me to say?
we mean it. We mean that because Denise was one of them, which definitely cracked us up. Because Denise literally just yells out, "Say something," and he just like, "Good day." Thank you. So, does Ben have the best average finish in Doc so far? No, that would be Bob.
Yeah,
Bob was like 8th in one race. So, Ben has an average finish of 12 so far, but Ben's batting 2 for 2.
Yeah,
so
finished.
Bob went 1 for 1, and not for naught because we spent a lot of time trying to get the car ready for Bob for the second race to actually go out to Springport. So yeah.
But I've got two pavement races under my belt now.
Yeah.
Super experienced.
Bob, I think, had like 2 before he got here. So you guys are pretty close on that. So Scott says, I need you. Oh, wait. It says, I need you, me. I mean, I need one. Scott, you guys start typing, buddy. Or checking this stuff before you hit send. So we'll make sure you get one at Springport or at Corrigan tomorrow. So
I'll bring some to the workshop.
Yeah.
Randomly
the shed,
placed.
his shed.
Yeah, chuck them in the shed. Randomly placed. Actually, what I did do at Springport is for someone to go find it. is I chucked a koala up on the catch fence somewhere around there. So go have a hunt and see if you can find it. I didn't leave it low enough that the kids can go and grab it, but there's a koala up on the catch fence. See if we can find that bad boy.
So my dad's clapping back. Ben has a much better record on pavement than Todd does on dirt.
That is true. Yes, that is true. For now.
I've ran 5 races on dirt. I finished 1. I would like to point out that I have had a higher finish on dirt than you've had on pavement, though.
Yeah.
I finished 5th. I was a lap down, but I finished 5th. I also had the CDC going on that race at Plymouth. That was fun because I spent about 10 laps trying to figure out if I could actually get the rear end under me. And then when I realized that I couldn't, I was like, if the front end stays under me, we're good. And so I just fucking sent it. Doored Tabby a little bit because she was in my way. We talked about that last Monday. So yeah. And yeah, we were going to try to go and like watch some dirt or even possibly put Ben on dirt in Doc. And then we looked at the tires that I have, the DOT tires. Let's just say that probably 10 years ago they might not have been dry rotted and cracked out, but I don't even know why those are in. We're not taking those. Like, we don't need to take those this weekend.
No.
I don't even know why they were in the car.
You need some 25-pound weight. That's about it. And even then they might not be any good.
Yeah. Well, we'll take that chunk of lead. Remind me tomorrow. We'll take that chunk of lead. Just because I don't know if you were supposed to be 2250 or 2350. We didn't actually ask them what it weighed. So, or we could just look at the weight rules.
25.
Yeah, you need 25 pounds.
Cool.
What the fuck is a pound? How many?
Someone just said eat a sandwich. I'm like, okay, that's a big ass sandwich.
Big sandwich. Yeah, once you actually looked up how much it weighs, that's a big sandwich. So, all right, we have Corrigan tomorrow, Owasso Saturday. That is the plan. Well, let me ask you this. I'll back up this slightly. You've watched the show for a while.
Mm-hmm.
First time you actually got to watch me race in person. And Saturday, so you could say Kalamazoo, talk about Kalamazoo if you want, but I'm curious what your thoughts were. Because this is the fun part for me sometimes, because I've ran into a bunch of subscribers after they watched me race for the first time. So I'm curious, especially like Saturday, being able to sit in the stands and watch me kind of go to work like old times, go to the, I finished second. I had the lead, but Gord had to go around the high side. Like, he absolutely earned that win, but I finished second. So just curious what your thoughts were getting to watch me race for the first time.
It validates it. It's like, it's like, oh, does this guy, well, it's been the same with me. Like, does this guy even know what he's doing?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he goes all right. But then I think you saw a couple of videos of me acting like an ass in a race car here and there. And I mean, obviously it's not over here, but enough to go, yeah, he goes all right. Jumping a go-kart, and he seems to be all right there. He didn't kill anyone. And then
he just pissed me off with that one, because we went go-karting last year, and because we didn't actually get to race cars, and they turned them up for us, which validated me, because Mike always makes fun of me because I'm shit in a go-kart. But the fact that we popped up on the leaderboard definitely made me feel good, because like, hey, I do know what I'm doing. But Ben, I would have the faster lap time, and Ben would follow me, and then he would see the line I was running, and then he'd crack off a tenth or two faster than me at the go-kart track, which just got under my skin, because like, see, I know what I'm doing. Although, God, did you whoop my ass at axe throwing, hatchet throwing?
Yeah.
Good God, I couldn't do it. I just could not get them things landed. Ben's just like, bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. Hey, this stuff's pretty cool. My entry on the slick track at PRI was god awful though. Listen, I'm not used to driving rear wheel drive on dirt, okay? Because that's what that was like. Also, I was mid-pack, okay? I was mid-pack. And if you'd have gave me another 10 laps, I'd have been just like the no way guy, and I definitely would have went faster. So Kzoo's base weight is 2350. Yeah, but it was the traveling series. It was the traveling series weights. I don't know if they're any different. So Pete might know. Pete, what's the base weight for a dual cam? Because Ben was 25 pounds light, but we don't know what he was light from. So, but All right.
I got to meet your brother. I got to meet Pete's brother.
Yeah. Jake came down and talked to us a
Came
couple
down.
times.
Said good day.
Yeah.
Gave him a sticker. Had a bit of a chat.
Yeah, gave his daughter a koala.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like it was Pete was there,
It
but
wasn't
close
Pete.
enough.
It was close, but
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine how much better your KZoo story would be if you're like, dude, I drove Pete's car, finished third, beat Todd. It was amazing. Like, imagine how much better that story would be. Much love, Pete. Much love. Hey, it's late enough. We coming after everybody. It's only noon where you're from.
Yeah, it's only 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it's only noon.
It's lunchtime. Go down and get some KFC.
Why only third? Because he's new on pavement.
Well,
you know,
I can't make that other fella look bad on his.
Yeah,
he's beating everyone here. I turn up and beat him. He'll get upset.
That's why you gave him a shot there with Doc the first time. Yeah, just didn't want anybody to feel bad.
Yeah.
Plus, we were being nice to Jake. Like, didn't want him to beat his brother in his brother's car.
Which car he was in, to be honest.
So Jake finished second. Yeah. Jake was the white 70 that finished second. Yeah. So every time the orange 27 buzzed you, the next car was Jake.
He was on him too.
He was there at the end.
They were right next to each other. So.
Yeah. You knew when it was me. You're like, oh shit, that's a lot of green. I know who that guy is. Well, get him away from me. So yeah. So out the window.
And then there's me.
I can't let go. I wouldn't have seen you anyway. I didn't have any mirrors. So we've had a little bit of fun. We actually went and hung out with my buddy Warren today, which was pretty cool. He's a Mitsubishi guy. Took you to County Fair. Yeah. Took you to, which I'm sorry. It was fun to hang out. Like, I'm sure you had fun watching my kids be feral. Plus deep fried Twinkie. Yeah, buddy. Corn dog's pretty good. Hadn't had an American corn dog. Yeah. Not like a real American corn dog.
So I didn't have the Oreos, but I'd had them before, and I definitely rate the Oreos over the Twinkie. The ones that I had the Oreos from the other shop.
Brother, I tell you what, the ones I had today, like, I wasn't expecting them to be as soft as they were in the middle, but it worked.
And then pretzel. Get a bit of pretzel as well.
Ben's pretzel from Ben's pretzel trailer. So we had a little bit of fun today, but then we went and hung out with my buddy Warren, who has a 8-second Dodge Colt, which is a pretty neat car. He's a Mitsubishi guy. So listen, if you're watching this from Australia, no, you didn't. So did you get some of that stuff on a stick? Oh, he got a couple things on a stick today. And we went over, and the kids and the wife got some fairy floss. And he was like, see, it's on a stick. And I was like, no, that's a paper cone. And he's like, oh. So
still, it's fairy floss.
Dude, my daughter loves that. So, which, hey, Checkers Records podcast, if you watched that Monday, we talked about what fairy floss was. My favorite thing you did was you're like, yeah, everything is chips. Like fries are chips. And then you go, like your crisps. And it's like, you just used an Australian slang to describe an Australian slang, brother. And Chad looks past him at me. And I was like, fries. So our French fries I go potato chips. Our potato chips are their crisps, and crisps are chips.
Everything is chips. Chips are chips. Chips and gravy. Chad will start getting all flustered again. We're talking about all the food we were gonna feed to him.
You just gotta go Tim Tams, Tim Tam, chocolate Tim Tam. Yeah, not mashed chips. Those are soft chips.
Yeah.
So, or baked tater tots. Apparently, I did not know that tater tots also are not chips.
No, those are potato gems.
Potato gems. Yeah. So sure. And Alicia, the cotton candy was on a paper cone like that. He's like, see, it's on a stick, and I'm like, no, it isn't. That's a paper cone. See, I'm right. Of course, and then my son didn't eat all of his, which. Listen, guys, nobody tell my daughter, but did you notice that his was like twice as big as Emily's? I was like, really?
Yeah. Well, he got 2 flavors. I don't know if she got 2 flavors.
She did.
Did she?
Yeah, he just didn't spin hers up nearly as much. And he ate he ate like half of it. He's like, here, you want it? And I'm like, my hands were so sticky. So sticky. I mean, it was great, but it was so sticky. But we went from there and went over and hung out with Warren, which is pretty cool. Learned some things. So Warren is like the guy I know that's into Mitsubishis, and he messes with some of the Mitsubishi V6 stuff, which is what he runs now. He runs the 3000 GT stuff, so it's the 3 liter and dual cam. So he was like, why would you run that? And we're like, because you have to. And he's like, that's stupid. And we're like, we know. And he's like, well, don't do that. And we're like, we can't.
Change classes instead.
Yeah, just run something else. Like,
okay.
Yeah, like, which, shout out Warren. Which, by the way, I legitimately think Warren's in for it. We're gonna try to put Warren in dock. What I thought about doing was taking it back to Kalamazoo spec and then be like, all right, so this is what Ben drove.
It still won't be. Now he's just talking to him. He's insanely smart when it comes to some of that stuff. Like definitely helpful. There's a few things that he pointed out that I'm going to take back and do a bit of research into it. Also look at different direction potentially down the line if I can get that going. But
yeah, we don't have to talk about that on air. No. We're still hashing that out.
Well, no, just even for me, just to be able to
to
get the front wheel drive dirt class to my state.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't have to talk about that right now.
Yeah, that's
right. I mean, you can. I mean, it's up to you. I'm just saying we don't have to talk about it for me.
But yeah, like the couple of things with my motor to try since I'm putting one together, I'll surely make a little bit of a difference, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'd be good. It was good. Definitely well worth drive.
Yeah. I mean, it was just up in Okemos, so it wasn't too bad. And we went to Horrocks. So, because we're Ben, you guys may not know this. Can't tell looking at him. Because so that was stop it. I'm gonna get canceled.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah. So if you Warren's dad popped in. Warren, his family is from India. Like his parents were from India. Ben is like a quarter Indian from India, and so Ben is gonna make us a curry on Sunday. My wife is super excited because we're gonna head out to my father-in-law's out on the lake. We're gonna go fishing, spend some time relaxing, which is it's gonna be nice to have a calm day. But Ben's gonna make us some curry, so we went. We went out to Horrocks, and if you guys have never been to Horrocks, I asked Ben one of the things when we were driving home last night, what's what's some of the stuff of just about America, and it was the excess, and not necessarily in a negative way, but just there's stores everywhere, and stores actually stock stuff, and some stores stock everything. So what's your take on Horrocks here? If somebody was close to Lansing or Battle Creek, encourage them to go, but what would you warn them with?
Don't eat the chilies.
He's like, you got to eat a chili to test to see how hot it is.
Well, that's my jam. If I'm going to cook for someone, I'm going to use chilies. I'll eat one of the chilies in the shop. They had habaneros, which I'm like, well, I'm not dumb. I'm not going to just chow down on that. So I grabbed the little Thai chilies and go, look, I think this is all right. Take a bite. It's pretty good.
And he was like, yeah, that's not bad. It's a good taste. It's got a little bit of bite.
So finish a bit more and finish it off because I'm not going to waste it. And then it hit me. It was pretty good. But that was then okay, these are the ones I'm going to use, but it's getting hotter. So
the best part for me, from my point of view, I was like, yeah, there's more spices over here. And we're looking, and I looked down at my phone. I'm like, oh, I need to reply to this. And so I start replying to a message, and it was maybe 40 seconds. And I look up and I'm like, where the fuck did Ben go? It's not a big deal. I drove there. So if he wants to go home, he's going to find me. But I walk over this aisle. I'm like, where the fuck did Ben go? And then I look over and I see him walking back. And I step around I'm walking towards him, and I see him just go. And I look, and he's got a bottle he just went and pulled out of the cooler. Yeah, we paid for it, but he's like, that chili got me. That chili got me.
It was lucky though we didn't find the milk. Otherwise, I would have been chugging a 2-liter milk down.
Yeah, we found that later. But what was it that you grabbed to drink? It was some sort of a mango something. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't. It was all right. It was just milk would have done the job, but
the mango juice was the best thing he found in the area with cold drinks that he found it in.
Yeah, so we got the mango juice, but there's everything there. I mean, because you want to go shop some fresh produce and then go and get something for your dog and buy a friggin' 3-foot long cow dong that's dried up for you.
Yeah, the bully sticks.
What the hell? But there's everything there. It was good. There's the bottle-o, the pub at the back. That's certainly something.
Never been to a grocery store and been watched people like, you know what? I think I'll have some of that that's on tap.
Well, yeah, I've seen people get on the terps at a bottle and at a shop, but they weren't there in a licensed area. Let's say
They weren't supposed to be.
generally I was going in because someone went, "Hey, get rid of this guy." I'm like, okay.
Well, when you show up in an official capacity, so
They tend to leave. But other, I'd be
Chad's
stoked.
confused. Cow dong? I'm not joking. So we're not going to get too in depth in this. This is some stuff that could get me in trouble with Facebook. Look up what like bully sticks are for your for dog treats, like the big ones. They're a part of the male cow that's usually hidden. We'll leave it at that. They don't waste the animals when they take the meat. Okay, just saying they do them for the dogs. So Alicia did say, "Oh, be here, dude. Did you see the great emu war movie? Is coming to the not so big screen."
I lived it. I lived in Meriden. I didn't live through the bloody war, but hey, didn't even know it existed until you guys told me.
Yeah, dude was part of the country that lost a war to a giant flightless bird. Didn't even know about it until we were like, dude, you guys lost to a bunch of emus. And he's like, no, we didn't. And I was like, you look it up, brother. Although I have found out just how badly kangaroos outnumber humans over there, and you just be thankful them things don't have opposable thumbs and know how to work firearms. We thought white-tailed deer were bad. So, but Alicia does say, on a serious note, good luck this weekend. Should be watching for updates. We are going to try to update you guys a little bit better. Ben needs to update Ben Ferris Racing. We need to go live on there at some point and show like you racing or racetrack or something. So we'll try to update with that. And then does Warren mess with the 2.4? So Warren is big on the 4G63 stuff. So
oh no, yeah,
4G63, the 4-cylinder 4G63
and
stuff.
then he's got the 6G72s.
Yeah. So Warren's a wicked smart dude. Ryan, shoot me a message on what your question would be. Like, I'm not just like giving out Warren's information and all that, but I'd happily ask questions or whatever. Like, super good dude, super friendly guy. But I'm gonna try to put him in my car, and I'm super excited to try that out. So, because he goes drag racing, and Sean is asking if I'm going to make it out to a Madeira in August. And Sean, I would absolutely love to. It is not in the cards. I don't have a car to take this year, and as much as I loved coming out and covering that race, and it has put a lot of stuff in motion, which I am exceedingly grateful for. It is not in the financial cards this year. So yeah, 428 baby. That's the naturally aspirated second gen stuff. So, but so I did want to answer. So I totally just remember this. Mr. Smith earlier asked how we got connected and got to racing. This is how. So because you told the story, it was Bevan, which is Dave's dad, reached out to me, and we were talking, and because he actually I think he asked me some like setup stuff, and I was like, so I don't run dirt. I'll tell you what I think, but I can't tell you that this is proven. I just give my opinion, and this is what I've noticed. And I talked to Dave, and then I had Dave on the show, and then after a little while, Ben was like, "Hey, I'll do the show," and I was like, "Shit, yeah." And then Ben was like, "Hey, coming to Canada? How about I come down to America?" And I was like, "Shit, yeah." And then you came here and it rained, and you were like, "I'm coming back." So
There we go. That's working again.
Just so everybody knows, the studio is ran off an extension cord that's plugged into a GFI on the house, and I blame the possum that I seen run past the house.
More than likely.
So
highly likely.
The cool part is that my laptop kept going and the internet kept going, so we didn't drop the feed. So screen goes black again. That's probably what happened.
It means we're going hunting possum.
You know what's bothering me though? It's very out of focus,
and it's really bright. The light's all.
It's no brighter than it was. It's just everything was blacked out for a minute. So I'm going to stand up. I'm going to adjust the camera real quick so we can get the focus back. So just so everybody knows what's going on. But that was, we still have internet, so it's not the house. I apologize. Wait, we're going to get that wired in as soon as I get the electrical inspection passed for Dad out there. So we're working on it. But yeah, I also did unplug out there just in case something was causing that. But I'm going to adjust the camera. Oh, all right. So what are you looking forward to most about Corrigan tomorrow?
I just want to get on the track again. I'm good with that. Again, different race surface. So I've seen, that was where we went when we first came in.
Yep.
From the airport. So I've seen
we drove past it.
That's pretty much it. I've seen some videos on it now. So got a little bit of an idea of what to expect. But yeah, I just want to get on the track, see how many cars turn up, and try not to be the slowest, basically.
The fun thing for me is tomorrow I get to just worry about being car owner and crew chief. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little excited about that one. Because something I'm pretty good at is watching the car and being like, okay, this is either how you have to drive it different, or this is what I need to do to adjust the car. So
do we know the format for tomorrow night?
You'll practice and then autograph night.
Okay.
So we got to stop and get some stuff for you to hand out, like some candy and stuff.
Got some Mars bars that got some pepperoni jerky,
some koala jerky, some Mars bars, and some koala jerky. Which Chad, I'm not sorry for that jokey joke. That was all Ben's idea. I was 100% for it. And brother, he played that perfectly. That might be the funniest thing you've done that I've seen you do. And it was just the look on Chad's face, taking it so seriously. And just, I was so excited because I knew it was coming. And you pulled out the Milky Way, so the Milky Way in Australia is just a Mars bar. That's what it's called, as a Mars bar. It's a Milky Way, but it's a Mars bar. So technically it was like because look on his face, he's like, I know what this is. This is a Milky Way, right? But the meat, we just picked up a bag of pepperoni sticks from the gas station. He didn't let him see what it was, and he's like, all right, so you have to guess this meat. And Chad was definitely like, oh God, like what are you pulling? He just hands him a processed stick, and Chad was trying, so he's like, is it kangaroo?
More legs.
Yeah, not exactly. More legs. Alligator. So yeah, listen, that episode should have like 1,000 views. But I had a lot of fun, and I sat off the side for most of it. So
that was good. I mean, it's to be able to come in there and have a chat to him and his daughter. So she co-hosted it with us, ripping questions and stuff. It was good. Just not just purely racing stuff, but just a bit of everything.
Yeah,
that was good. It was cool.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So yeah,
even down to getting a frisbee off a display roof. And
over that, I kept walking out of the bathroom. Chad is like 10 foot away, looking in the window as a mirror, looking up as Ben's pulling this cheese ball lid down. Yeah, cheese ball lid down. So yeah,
we got it.
What's up, Chuck? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we do still have a few more fun things we're planning on. We're gonna go visit Peacemakers next week. I do want to we're still gonna try to go over to Cabela's That's the other one that I do want to try to do too. We're going to try to schedule that one.
Yep.
So we do have some fun outside of racing too.
Yeah.
So, have you ever done the flat bottom boat races with the 2-person teams or been to them?
I've been to them. So that, I think what he's referring to is called the Avon Descent. So we wait until winter, and there's this is a town about 45 minutes out of Perth called Northam.
Okay.
They start there and then they come down the Avon River into the city. And it's like you're like paddling canoe guys, but then the ones that he's talking about, those guys are nuts, full race gear and stuff, and they're just ripping down this. There's sections they have to jump out and pick the boat up and stuff. There's rocks and whatever, but they are crazy. I've seen them. I've seen stretches of them. I haven't seen the whole race. If that's the ones he's talking about.
So is that what you're talking about, Ryan? Isn't it past bedtime for old people?
No, it's just gone lunchtime. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
it's lunchtime. It's just afternoon.
Yeah.
So, Cabela's does have a variety of meat sticks.
I know.
Cool. I've got some kangaroo and alligator in the same bag. It's marked pepperoni, but
Well, I only thought about it afterwards. I didn't go back to that food shop at the fair today to get some what was it? What did they have there? They had crawfish and they had the alligator
yeah.
and stuff. We didn't go back there. We walked past, but I didn't go back to it.
Well, maybe that'll be part of our adventures Monday or Tuesday is we'll find he's like, dude, I kind of want like some catfish or crawfish or something like that. So we're gonna try to find like a Cajun setup because dude, like battered catfish, that's good stuff. It really is. So I'm down for that. Some catfish and chips.
Yep.
So not crisps.
Get amongst it.
The one I was thinking of, the outboard powered small boats and run a water course.
Okay. Yep, I've been to those. Actually, my friend that helped me do my car used to race them.
Oh, okay.
He broke his leg coming out. He rolled over. So these are the real short boats, and you've got the guy who's just friggin' crazy driving it, and you got a spotter that sits there and basically they get given the track. The track is like 2.5, 3 foot deep. So
it's the same thing like Cletus did, the jet boat races.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about,
doing these
Ryan?
ones and those guys are nuts.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of my best mates does that or did that for a couple of seasons in a friggin' bombed out LS motor boat thing. It was just wild.
I have no desire to go fast on water. I can't swim.
Well,
like I can float.
You don't need to in that, but most of the time they come out of it and land upside down in it. And
yeah. No, I get that. I get that. And like honestly, watching those, because like watching Cletus go do it, like okay, maybe. I just like the dudes that do the drag racing and like the offshore stuff and all like that.
That's what he's now moved into.
Yeah, no, thank you.
He took his
the drag racing or the offshore?
The offshore racing stuff. So he's taken the LS off that jet boat that he was racing, and he's built a twin one. So he's gonna have 2 of them. Just he's nuts.
We went and toured Baker Engineering way back in the day when I was at Ferris for our dyno class, and they had one of their like offshore boats. Because they, that's the thing. Our lakes are big enough. You can run them bitches, right? Run them, right? And we're talking to the guys, and they're like, "Yeah, this is we got 2 different setups for it. We've got the small motor and the big motor." And we're like, "Oh," and he's like, "Yeah, small motors are like this and this and this." And we're like, "Okay." He's like, "Yeah, they're like twin, like 1100 horsepower." And we're like, "So like 2200?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, "What's the big motors?" He's like, "Oh, well, they're supercharged this and this, and they're like 1500 horse." And we're like, "So like 3000?" He's like, "Yeah." And we're like, "What's the speed difference?" He's like, "About 9 mile an hour, 10 mile an hour."
Yeah, well,
because it's like the difference between like 145 and 155, but at 145 the drag to overcome is because it's exponential, and so to be able to go 155 takes way more power. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, these are the LS7 supercharged LS7s, 2 of those.
Well, shit. Pete kind of regrets not coming over here now. You read that?
I can't see it.
Okay. So Pete says, "I will say, having a catastrophic wheel failure on your mountain bike and getting thrown so you tear something in your shoulder should not be on your things to do this weekend." He says your, which I assume he means my, because your dad's probably not in the same boat. And I are kind of twins right now. Pete,
But
I'm sorry to hear that, my friends. I do wish you a speedy recovery. So yeah.
but I'm sure your wife is happier that you're there.
Oh yeah, like if you'd have tore your shoulder all apart over here,
Yeah.
I'd had to feel bad.
Yeah.
So glad I don't have to think. I don't have to feel bad. Like I feel bad that you hurt your shoulder. I don't have to feel bad like it was my fault. So Sean wants to know, do you have Speed Shops or Amazon? And Chad says your delivery is called Kangaroo Express. It's like Amazon, but hoppier and faster.
And then you get to eat it afterwards.
Yeah. It's all shook up.
We got speed shops over there. They're not as well stocked as here.
How's it compared to Union City Speed Shops?
Not even close. Chalk and cheese, mate. Chalk and cheese. I would say, so we've got some, the bigger Eastern Coast ones are pretty big. Like we've got a few over there, because the East Coast is where most of the racing's at. So you've got a pretty big spread. For us, we've got smaller, kind of independent type stuff, but they'll stock the big gear. So if you need aeroflow stuff, they'll have a wall of it. But if you need different sizes and whatnot, they'll get it over, like airbagged over for you. And they stock all our race gear. Nowhere near what that thing was down where we went to last time.
We took them over to Lane last time, Motor State. So if you guys don't know, it's Motor State. Motor State's probably who gets your favorite speed shop their gear. And we took him over there, and that's like the speed shop here in Michigan. It probably for a good distance because they are the warehouse. So anything in that catalog you could have went, I want one of these, and chances are they had it in the back. So
unlike the shoes, which they did have, but they were in the back.
Yeah.
It took him 10 minutes to go get them, and then I had the wrong size.
Yeah, that, and then I mean they had your helmet.
Yeah.
You know.
Which I'm still rocking both of those.
Oh, I know, dude. That's so awesome. It's so awesome to see your car with a giant Union City Speed Shop. No mention of frontal discussion. And then the giant Union City Speed Shop on the side. And then see pictures of you racing it with your American flag helmet. How much grief did you get for that?
Nothing. It was weird. I was hoping to annoy people with it over there. I wore at our state championships, I had my helmet and I wore my American flag shirt, and just, I don't know, people just, whether they just shunned me off to the side because I'm driving a front wheel drive or not.
Yeah, I mean, you're already shunned.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more shunned you can get when you're shunned.
Nah.
So, and this, yeah, Scott says, I sell more Saginaw 4-speed parts to Australia than I do here in the States. And Pete says, I watch too much Aussie Man review stuff, and I know too much of what Ben says. Dude, I'm telling you, Pete, if you didn't watch it, the look on Chad's face when Ben was describing how everything's chips, and he's like, well, you know, ours are you know, what you guys like chips, like you guys they're crisps, and it's like you used Australian to describe Australian, and Chad just looks past him because I was sitting, you know, because they're against the bench and the counter, and I'm sitting over here, and he just looks past and looks at me. I was like, potato chips. Oh. So
we tried.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then you drop your American accent or Australian accent. I want to go fast. I died. I was so glad you couldn't hear all of it. So I did watch it. I loved it too. That was a lot of fun. I was glad. Chad, that was great. I honestly did, man. You know, I'm not offended. I'm not upset that it took an Australian, you know, couldn't just invite me, you know, couldn't ask me to come on. I get it. See, I got to give Chad shit too. So seriously, I do get it.
Well, he's picked up some international viewers because guys back home are watching it. So
yeah, no, you know, I got you on here.
I posted it to so we got a group chat with just the front wheel drive guys in our class.
Most,
all of them,
the fast guys.
Yeah,
you know. Is he in there? He just doesn't talk.
We've invited him. He's not a big talker anyway. He's a nice kid, but he's also like, well, whatever, don't really care. There's not a lot that phases him. He's just he can drive the hell out of a car. Even like you see him at the national championships, he gets up on the roof and people are like, oh, he doesn't even have a flash suit on. He's like, nah, got the boots that I've been racing my junior in. He's got a standard suit, no
no embellishment,
nothing like that.
Embroidery.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't need a suit. I don't need a nice wrap. Like,
yeah,
my car goes fast and I let that dude walking. He's just like,
dude, it was watching You said the name like 10 times. The dude that's won everything.
Anthony Bear.
Yeah. But watching like his holographic, like,
Yeah.
dude, that thing looks so good. And then just like, here just comes the Magna.
Yeah.
Like, he's got like damn near duct tape numbers on it.
Pretty much.
So,
yeah, it's pretty basic. EB Graphics is the guy who,
yeah.
him and his wife own the graphics company. They do at least 50% of the sign writing for the race cars across Australia because they're bloody good. But yeah, these guys just went local shop, we'll just grab some stickers and slap them on.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, it was so basic.
no
Like,
frills, not interested.
yeah, like
Just send it.
I honestly, like, when you first started it, like, I didn't know which, because again, I don't know what any of these cars are. You know, and watching it, like, I didn't even know which one was the Magna, and then you're like, yeah, that one, because you did show me the picture of like the holographic one, so like I knew that guy was like the guy to beat. He's like a 28, 29 time state champion, like 10-time national champion. Like, this dude's, you know, it.
He is.
And but just watching this, just drive past him. So of course it's awesome because he just won in a Magna, but then you're like, ah, shit, he just won in a Magna.
But what's funny
So
is
they're not going to give us an inch.
that car's been for sale. It's on the side for sale for probably 6 months.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, you're going to sell it now?" He's like, "Yeah." Someone want to buy it? Like, it's still for sale.
Price just went up, but yeah,
just doesn't care. He's like, "Yeah, you want to buy it? Come and buy it."
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They going to build another Magna, you know, or just do something different? Maybe move up.
The
Just
last
curious.
time,
I know, like, you're not like buddies.
the last time I spoke to him, he said he was looking at going into a V6 sprint class.
Okay.
But the fact that he just took out 2 state championships and a national championship may change that, which makes me also think that maybe that 380 might be their submission and it might be on the go.
Gotcha. They leaked the rules.
Yeah.
So then they disappeared the rules.
But I downloaded them rules.
I got a copy of them too because he sent them to me.
Yeah.
We're literally down at undisclosed location, working on the van yesterday, and I just see him and he's like bent over the toolbox. I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "I'm reading the rules," and I was like, part of me was just like, "Okay." You know, like, I'm thinking like, oh, for like a different track or something. And he's like, yeah, so they released the new rules. And I was like, oh, cool. And then like 2 hours later, and we talked about them for a minute. And like 2 hours later, he's like, they're gone. And I was like, huh? He's like, the rules are gone. So they weren't supposed to be let out.
Nope.
So,
but I got them.
But it just means that we've had some talks about some stuff we can do.
Ultimately, they didn't help me by giving me a new computer to use. So
yeah, I still.
We would call that a classic stitch up. That one.
I'm still just amazed at that. They make like that would seriously, like, you go out to Springport and they're just like, oh, you have a Honda Civic? Cool, here's your Dodge Neon computer. It's so nuts. Like, he runs his Mitsubishi Magna.
But not even here's a Dodge Neon computer. Here's a Dodge Neon computer from 20 years ago.
Well, technically that would be the thing. Now it's like 40 years at this point, 30 years.
Yeah, 90. It'd be 80s and 90s, late 90s. So it's almost 30 years old technology.
Yeah. So it would be like if they gave you a computer out of a Daytona before the Neon. For those of you who don't know, the way that it was, like, because honestly, I think we'll probably do another show that's just about, like, because we did it before the last time we talked to you, like, a lot about the differences. Because it's ran by the government, no payment tracks, and like your class, you're only allowed like 6 chassis. Like, that's it. Like, you could pick these 6 chassis, and one of them's a Skyline R31. So, you know, have fun. Yeah. But like to run his Mitsubishi Magna, which is a front wheel drive V6 Mitsubishi, they're like, hey, here's a 1991 Ford Falcon PC. Yeah, straight 6 PCM. Make it work on that. And it's a spec PCM. So like he has to be able to, like, they can walk up to his car, you know, practically anytime.
Yep.
And be like, you know what, we think something's up with your computer, and just swap him. And yeah, so it's a 91 Ford PCM.
Yep.
And they made it work. And so that's what blows my mind is that's yeah, it just fact, but that's that's the rule set over there. Like, that's what's so goofy. But it's also when the old heads don't want to change.
Yep.
That's what happens.
I mean, I could go to the next class up. I could then use a Magna computer. I can then run coilover suspension. I still can't do any head work to it.
I did see that. I forget where it was that I seen where it was like someone was explaining. I think it might have been on something on TikTok, and the idea was, oh no, I actually seen a guy post in one of my airflow groups that it was like, yeah, importing these manifolds are like a 250 something manifold, and it's for Speedway. And the guy's Australian, they're going through, and they said something about like head work, and he's like, well, no, he's like, you can do head work if you're carbureted, but if you're fuel injected, you can't do any head work.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bit backwards. You can run
See, and that's the thing is like I'm looking at that, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'll put a carburetor on that bad boy. Let's open some stuff up.
Yeah, there's definitely ways and means to do things over there, but yeah, these guys are ripping around in the Commodores and Falcons still, and dominating.
What's the newest Falcon or Commodore? Like when did they stop making them?
20. Jeez, we can run them now, so it'd have to be 5 years ago. So like 2018, 2019 was the last of I think it was a FGX Falcon, and
you could say anything you want right now, and I'll nod my head and agree.
Well, you can guys will go online and have a look at them. They're basically what the V8 supercars were.
Yeah.
Was the current model. I don't know what they're going to do now. Someone's going to have to say we can bring out a Camaro or something, but these dumbasses will make us run a Commodore motor and a Camaro body or something that's stupid. Like,
no, you know what they're going to do? They'll modernize everybody but you.
Yeah. Everyone else can run double overhead cam.
Yeah.
And I'll be stuck with a single overhead
dual overhead cam and modern PCM and fuck you Magna guys though.
Yeah.
That's what you get for winning the championship.
Exactly.
You're not going to embarrass me again.
I'm going to do my damn best.
I'm excited. Ryan, I had one of them 2.2 turbo 5-speed. Can you run the Utes in the classes, or does it have to be a sedan?
Got to be a sedan. So it's got to be a 4-door, available for purchase from a yard, from a lot in Australia. So we're basically Commodores, Falcons, Magna, and the R31 Skyline. That's it. There were other things listed previously, but no, they're too old and no one's building them anymore, so they just took them out.
And the Falcons and the Commodores and the Falcons and that, there's different models of those. So like that's where there's the extra chassis come in. Be like you can build a first gen and a second gen Neon. Like a Civic, they've got like 8 generations of it. So like that's the thing with the Falcons and is that the Commodores is the Holdens. So that the Commodore is, and it's just the Commodores that the Holden run.
Yep.
So
I mean, and the bodies that they're running are back as far as, I think there's a couple of VS Commodores around. So we're talking like early 90s, 92, 93. Same with the Falcons. The older Falcons are still kicking along pretty good. You'll see a few of them around, mainly because of their strength. So the old Commodores and Falcons have solid axle rear ends.
Okay.
Whereas the newer stuff, after about 98 from both, went to independent rear suspension.
Gotcha.
So you have the benefit of that on the dirt with the flexing and stuff, whereas the live or solid axle stuff, you can get that roll with the body and stuff, but they're just bloody hard to find. I mean, it's 30 years old trying to find a car in a shop, unless you got someone with a scrapyard or a wrecking yard that's got a stock out the back. They're getting hard to find.
Yeah.
Same with the engines. Like, we're still having to run the older engines. It's tough.
What's the, like, if you run a body, you have a window of the motor, because like you can't, the leaked rules would allow the 3.8 instead of the 3.5 for your stuff, but you have to run it in that new body. So what is the, like, for the Falcons and the Commodores and that, what's the rule for them as far as like, a 95 chassis versus like a 91 motor, like what's the rules on that for them?
So you can run an older motor. So if I was to run, we'll say a 2000 model Commodore, I can run the Ecotech motor, or I can run the 3.8 Buick motor, because they were older. I can't go to the Alloytech motor, which is 2003.
Gotcha. So you can go backwards, you can't go forwards.
Yeah. So same with the Falcons. If I've got the brand new Falcon 2019,
you can run anything.
I could go run the 3.9 liter injector carbureted off chops engine in it if I wanted to, from
back
in the 90s.
Gotcha.
but they're not going to modify the bastard to make it fit, which is custom gearboxes or custom tail shafts, diffs, and all that kind of stuff to match it up.
Gotcha.
Plus, the newer cars are weaker because they're all aluminium cast stuff as opposed to the old steel. So and you can't get stuff at the wreckers yet. So you're paying $300-400 for an arm or something at the front if it gets hit. They tend to break a lot. So
gotcha. You can't just like rebody a car. Like you couldn't just take new fenders and stuff from like the newer model of your car and put on there to do the new new motor.
So you can put the panels on. That was in the new rulebook to say if I've got a 95 model Falcon, I can go and get the body panels from a 2005 and stick
you
them
could
on
make it look like a newer one,
but it comes back to you have to register for that body. So it may look fancy, but it's still a 96 Falcon.
Gotcha.
So that was in the new rules.
So Dad's asking, like, is rust an issue over there? Like, what is taking these cars off the road? Just wrecks and age?
Yeah, pretty much. Like we don't have snow, so we don't have the salts and stuff like that. A few of the cars would be maybe if they're down living near the coast, you get a bit of the rust from that, but it's really just these cars have been just left in a paddock out the back somewhere. At a farm.
I mean, they're 30 years old, and so mom's not driving a 30-year-old Commodore when she could have a new anything.
Yeah.
So
they're just sitting in yards. You got to find them.
Jed just shat himself here, and you say aluminium.
We had that conversation yesterday.
Yeah. What? Because there was a couple things that he asked. He's like, "What's that one? How do you say acorn? Acorn?" And I was like, "That's definitely like a north-south thing. Like it's just acorn up here."
And then pecan,
Yeah, pecan, pecan. I won't like. I could go either way on that one. I don't care that much. And then
aluminum.
There was one other one that you asked me that I was like, okay, so that's a southern thing, not a what was that word?
What it was.
Yeah, it was a late drive. So we had to turn around and go get my backpack so that I had this stuff.
It's big day in the shed.
It was a big day in the shed. So I also loved how who was it riding with us? Mike was like, "What's his deal with sheds?" I was like, "Man, everything's a shed." Like, yeah, dying over here. Same safety as far as cages, seats, and so on. They actually are way better at that because it's government ran, which I know some of you listen. I know. Okay, I know you're like the government worse. I get it, but the government literally says, "This is what your cage looks like. This is what your seats look like. Run this. Wear your gloves, you dumb son of a bitch. Or don't race." And so
we've got in the rulebook, even the last rulebook, there you've got diagrams of the frames.
Yeah.
Diagrams of all the cages, the bars that you have to have. If you don't have one of these bars, you ain't racing. If they sorry.
And they'll turn you away too. Like if you show up to an event with the official scrutineers, done.
And they'll reach, if because we got to run the roof plate inside. If they reach in there and the top of your hoop or something isn't fully welded the whole way around, either you're cutting your roof off to weld it or you're putting it on the trailer and going home. Same with your safety gear. So sorry. Your whole setup. So you go out in a race, mainly at the bigger races, but the smaller tracks will check as well. They'll pick whoever won and then probably 2 random cars. You pull in. If you go back to your bay before you go to the scrutineering shed, you're disqualified. And they'll go, well, we're going to check socks. Make sure you've got your SFI rating socks, or we're going to check your undergarments. You got your balaclava, the whole works. And if you haven't got them, that's it. It doesn't matter if you won the race, you're done. You can come back out with your gear on properly for the next race, but you've lost all your points for that race.
See, I don't even have. That's the one thing that I wasn't expecting to race as much as I am right now. Like I don't have the undergarments at all. I just wear socks, my underwear and stuff. I wear a pair of shorts, which I need to get the undergarments. That is the thing that I do want to definitely get. But that's it. Like they seriously, if they, what would happen if they happen to see you driving under the flag stand and just saw bear skin on your hands?
Black flag straight away. Not even a question. You would be getting the ass straight away off the track.
And they've got you guys full containment seats, head and necks. Are you allowed to pick your head and neck, or do they have approved ones?
They've got, so as long as you've got a reputable branded one.
As long as it's SFI,
it doesn't have to be Hans.
A good one. Gotcha.
It has to be certain age though. You can't have the older ones, so your tethers are busted up.
Yep. Yeah.
So
that is for us over here too. You have age for them. Let me rephrase that. As far as I know, VCTS and CTS, they both have I think it's 5 years for your head and necks.
Yep.
You can send them off. You can get them recerted and rewebbed and all that kind of stuff. But the traveling series do have dates for your safety gear too.
Yeah, so they're pretty strict on that as well. Just we don't have the onboard fire extinguisher suppression systems and stuff. But
are you allowed to have it in?
I think it says that you can have them in there, but for the most part, we've got the fireys are on the infield. The ambulance is on the infield waiting. So if anything happens, they're on it pretty quick.
Yeah. My fire suppression system, the one I had in my car, I had it set up. People looked at me funny, like I was weird for doing this, and like it made so much logical sense. Mine was on the A-pillar bar right here, and it was so that if somebody came to the window to check on me and I was on fire and unconscious, they could pull it.
Yep.
Like that was a big deal for me. It's like over here tucked away is cool, like it fits, but like it's the same as my battery switch. I want it so the first guy to the scene, if he's like, shit, that guy's unconscious, it's pouring fuel, that's on fire, click,
See, our ones are got to be center of the cowl panel at the front.
Yeah.
Got to be labeled to say what's going on with it. You could add a second one up
on
either side as well. We'd be fine.
And if the center of the car makes sense, especially if it's mandated that, they got to get in the window, right? And I get this all the time with mine, with being on the left side. Well, if you're against the wall, if you're here, whatever. I'm like, that's my side. Like they're coming to the driver. Mm-hmm. And if for whatever reason they needed to flip that switch off, they're probably not coming up and through the passenger side anyway.
Ours is in front of the window as well. So the mesh on the cage comes down and then the panel comes out. That's got to be out.
Oh, so you can't turn it off from inside the car?
Not unless you break your belts and reach around to do it.
Gotcha.
So generally it's like make sure you turn the bastard on or get when your crew to sort it out.
Gotcha.
Same with window nets was the other thing that is, you got to have it in there and it's got to stay up.
Yeah.
If that falls down mid-race, you're done.
A lot of our tracks will, you'll get throw caution and all that. So, Chad, thanks for hanging out, my friend. Chad's going to bed.
Good night, Chad.
Night.
Sweet dreams, mate.
It is getting warm in here.
It is a bit, but there's no mozzies in here, so.
Yeah, sure. Also, our buddy stopped driving around a while ago.
He probably got
dude was getting
got pulled over.
Yeah, I don't know if he got pinched or not. That dude was nobody ever did answer us if they could hear it on here.
No, they said they couldn't.
Okay. Like I'm gonna go back and listen. Like I'm gonna at some point I'm gonna go back and watch the first part of this and see if I could hear it.
Yeah, it sounded like a full-blown late model.
Dude, it did. Like it straight up
and
did.
It sounded nice too. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't crap.
I the one time I went in the house, I heard and I'm like, oh, that's kind of like, damn, that's kind of loud. And then all of a sudden it went, I'm like, whoa. So yeah. What's one thing that that we're probably not going to be able to get to do that you wish we could?
Well, I think we're going to be going fishing. We're going to have a crack at some fishing.
Yeah, we're going fishing Sunday.
So I was going to give that a crack. One thing I'd love to do, but just physically can't do it because of a lot of reasons, was go hunting.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to go out. It's obviously out of seation, and then it's hard enough getting an out-of-state license or an out-of-state tag, let alone a international tag and all that kind of stuff. But I'd love to come back and like go on a proper hunt.
Yeah.
Go and get a whitetail or go out and get a mule deer or something like that. I'd be happy to go and pop squirrels, but it's only like a certain squirrel all year round. Everything else.
If I had a suppressor, I got some things in the yard you could pop, but
well, there might be a possum we need to go and take out. But yeah, I'd love to go out and do a proper hunt.
Yeah,
I've seen a few of those. Even
we did talk about that because it was a case of like, well, what's in season? Like, what could I go hunting? And it's like nothing. Like, and it's just the state of Michigan. Like, if we knew somebody, you could go shoot coyotes because it's a nuisance animal. It's always in season,
Yep.
and like some squirrels. So yeah, but otherwise, yeah, it just wasn't in the cards.
Yeah.
So
No, I'd like because I haven't done that. I shoot. I go out and do vermin
yeah
on farms and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Not like a proper hunt, go in the woods, stalk
or turkeys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
I did see a turkey.
Yes.
So
yeah,
do you guys have turkeys over there?
we do. I've never really seen wild turkeys though.
Yeah, that one was wild.
That definitely was.
Yeah. So Dad actually says, Dad says the tractor pulls were tonight. No, I don't actually think it was, because unless that shit was reverbing, it was coming from different areas, and it literally was like 11:30 at night. Like
those were on 5 till 7 or something.
Yeah, those were like this was literally when we started the show. So I mean, it sounded good enough.
It might have been hanging
around. Yeah, they might have been doing some pulls somewhere out in the field. But and Sean says that you have pics of your car somewhere that they can find.
Yeah.
Not enough of them on the racing page.
No, I'm pretty average at it. Chuck me a friend request on Facebook, or so either just me, Ben Ferris, or chuck us to the Ben Ferris Racing, and I'll add you onto there. I have a list of people on there that I got to get on there. I'm terrible at taking photos. I'm terrible at uploading things, but we
haven't been taking nearly enough. Dude, I'm gonna try. I thought about it, and what I realized was afterwards is that I should have got a picture of you with Warren's 6G in the garage. Be like, yeah, so we were here talking about picking up the new motor for the race car.
Man, the dudes in back home would lose their minds.
Yeah,
like, that's illegal. Yeah, that's got twin cam.
Never mind the turbos hanging off from it. Yes. Oh my God, Ryan, I'm so glad you said groundhogs. Yeah, that it was an animal you asked about. Well, so you did ask about lightning bugs and fireflies
and chiggers.
Chiggers. Chiggers was the one. Which, by the way, when I hear chiggers, there's an episode I remember very, very little of the show. Third Rock from the Sun. There was an episode where it started snowing, and they're aliens. Have you ever seen Third Rock from the Sun?
No.
Okay, so the premise of the show had John Lithgow on it, a few others. But the premise was they were all aliens and they landed on Earth and they just assumed human form and they had to fit in. Okay. They'd never seen snow before. And so the first time, like, the one opens the door and just screams bloody murder like a maniac. And they look at him. He's like, albino brain chiggers. And the kid was like, no, it's okay. He's like, brain chiggers. And he's like trying to hide and like cover his head in that. And he's like slamming the door shut in this. And he's like, oh my God, no. And he's like, no, it's just snow. And he's like, what? And he's like, no, it's frozen water. He's like, it's okay. But it's just, I have this, it's burned into my head. Anytime I hear chiggers, all I hear, and honestly, like 80% of the time, the first, like if I see like big snowflakes, I just like, albino brain chiggers. Like, absolutely, and nobody in my life has any idea what I'm talking about, and I can't tell you 3 other lines from that movie or from that show. I can't, like, I remember the premise of it. I remember watching it. It was funny, like, it was a sitcom. I found it humorous, but they just albino brain chiggers. So yeah, Ryan says it makes me itch just hearing it. Yeah, God, I wish I could remember what the other one was. It was something. There's another animal too that you'd ask me about where I'm like, that's a southern thing. So it's just like what was ever on the menu which turned out to be pecan, but yeah, pecan.
It was like 2 hours later. I remember it.
Yes, it was a while later. You even it was bothering him so bad he looked up the Google and looked up the menu for the place, because it was just the Union Station there in Union City. It's just a little food stand that they got. So yeah, Ryan says I remember that, and James says Third Rock was great. It was a good show. The premise was really good because it had the oldest, like, highest ranking member was a kid in high school, and then John Lithgow was like a professor, and it had the chick from Coneheads that was on Saturday Night Live. I know none of this is to you, but I think her name was Jane. It was because her name was Jane because there's a like weekend update deal that they were doing on Saturday Night Live. I'll have to try to find you this clip because it was Dan Aykroyd and this Jane. Somebody help me with her last name. They're going back and forth, and she's like, well, I think this. And he goes, Jane, you ignorant slut. And he just like reads off like, this is why you're wrong. Yeah. So her name was Jane. I can't remember, but yeah, she was in Coneheads. Have you ever seen Coneheads? Dan Aykroyd.
I know what it is.
You
But
know of it, yeah, yeah. So she was in there. So like, but she was the love interest of John Lithgow in the show, and I can't remember the guy's name that was another one, or the girl, but the girl was like the head of security, like the soldier of the group, and so she was always just beating people up. And then it had Newman as the cop, which was her boyfriend, and then the other guy was like the comedic relief, and I cannot remember the guy's name. Like I can show you a picture of him, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, that guy!" Like he was like a C-list actor kind of deal, but he was hilarious. It was a good show. Like I'm not gonna go out through and rewatch all of them, but it was a good show. Kristen Johnson was Sally. Yeah, Sally was the one. Sally and Don. Don was Newman from Seinfeld was her boyfriend. So yeah, it was obscure stuff. This is turning into what it was with Chad. We're like, here's some random information. So, what's your favorite thing we've done that wasn't racing so far? We haven't done a lot, but
no, we've done a lot of racing. It's either been racing cars or fixing cars, or hell, actually, the stuff that we even did last time, just going randomly to Walmart or Myer and just spending an hour or two wandering around looking at stuff and trying to find things.
Yeah, Meyer was pretty fun the other night because I was like, "Oh yeah, we got to go over here and go to this snack." That was Wayne Knight was Don. Yeah. So Chad's gone. So after we were on Checkers or Wreckers, he needed socks. He didn't have enough socks. And so we're like, well, we'll run over here to Walmart. And Walmart was going to close in like 20 minutes. And I was like, wait, Meyer's open. And so Meyer was actually open an hour later. So we were walking around looking at some of their, like, you got these, you got those, you got this, you got that. But we recovered some of the snacks we talked about on Checkers or Wreckers. Have you ever seen Blazing Saddles?
No.
Yeah. Blazing Saddles is amazing. It's oh goodness, Mel Brooks. So it's a Mel Brooks film. So like Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, there's a few of them, but it's if you watch it, you're like, this is racist, but it's making fun of the racists the entire time. Like the racists are the bad guys. Like it works out, but it was made back in the day, and there's prolific use of the N word, but it's hilarious, but it's yeah.
It wouldn't pass today.
Honestly, I think it could because it is straight up making fun of racist people. Like it's not hiding it like the way that they do it, but it's hilarious. Spaceballs is the other one. So, yeah, I'm gonna get a list together of movies to see if Ben can find them. If not, we'll have to send him some DVDs. The Slam and Salmon's a big one. I think Sunday I'm gonna try to get you, and because obviously we gotta be home for the kids to go to bed Sunday. So I think that's the thing is like Sunday when we get back, I'm gonna try to get Katie to sit and watch the Slam and Salmon with us. Because she even thinks that movie's hilarious. It's the one I want to watch with you because I just think it's so funny because there's some lines in it that we're going to use from then on. But oh my gosh, it is 12:40. We've been doing this for 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's the problem is that I can do this. I can just sit and talk because that's the funny thing is we've driven to Union City like 4 times. We've driven to Battle Creek, towed the cars around like over to Kazoo and stuff. Like, yeah, shit, 2 hours from the, airport and back, and like every time I'm like, what do you call this? What do you do that? What do you do this? Like there's just so much stuff that I'm trying to like. It just amazes me. I'm also just a curious fellow. So yeah, dude, Jamie even says Slam and Salmon is great too, dude. It really is. It's so underrated because so many people haven't seen it because it's not Super Troopers.
Yep.
Like if you like the Broken Lizard stuff, you've watched Super Troopers. Like that's the big one. But Slam and Salmon I honestly think it's funnier than Super Troopers. It's as a cop, like I'm assuming as a cop, you've seen Super Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's completely different. Like it doesn't try to play off Super Troopers at all. But the shit they do is so funny. Well, we've talked about a few of them. I damn near decapitated. Yeah, Beer Fest is a good one. ADD is a mother. Listen, brother. It really is. If you want to know how much so, like we walked out of Big Boy after we were eating with the kids and we walked in, there's some hogs sitting outside, and I was like, Barb, there's some grass clippings. It's like the whole week, every time we drive by somebody's mowing, I'm like, oh God, we're gonna have to let her down, Barb. Some grass clippings are out here. And he's never gonna see mowed grass on a road ever again without hearing me in the background. Barb, we're gonna have to let her down. Because I've been unmedicated this entire time. Because I've been self-medicating with a couple energy drinks a day. But that's also mostly the exhaustion.
We didn't really have any of them today.
You didn't.
No.
I drank one going into walking into Warren's. I drank one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was yawning on the way over there.
I smashed my watermelon juice. That was pretty much all I had today.
No, I've had enough caffeine I'll die if I have enough.
So I'll make up for it tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna need it tomorrow.
Yeah. Because I gotta send a message to somebody to figure out whose truck we're driving. So whether I gotta go to Springport or Charlotte or Battle Creek or U-Haul. Go to the nearest U-Haul. Which one of these got a hitch on it?
Enterprise.
Yeah. They don't have trucks.
Well,
at least around here.
Be like, hey, I'm thinking about buying one of these.
To a 24-hour test drive.
Can I take it for a bit?
Yeah.
Definitely need to.
We're gonna have to apply with your credit because mine won't get us a 24-hour test drive. Oh. Yeah, it's just money. She'll be right.
She'll be right.
We can make it happen. Listen, that thing's got a VIN number on it. I'll take the plate off the street car. We'll drive it up there. Not on the street tires we got for the race car, but
we'll have to splash out and buy some new tires just to do something illegal.
It's only illegal if you get caught. We need some taillights. That's the big one. The drive home's gonna be the bitch. I'm gonna need some headlights too.
Just get a torch.
Is that guy sitting on the hood with 2 flashlights? Yeah. He should have 4. There's no indicators. You just have headlights. Well, he kind of like waves the one headlight.
We'll be right.
She'll be right. What's wrong, officer? That's where you pull out your wallet. You're like, I'm one of you. It's okay. Like, no, listen. I'm undercover. trying to catch a ring of car thieves. This guy's helping me.
Nothing to see here.
You're nothing to see here. Listen, you never been in a police chase? Come on, guys. I need some backup. He went that way. That was the other one too that we were listening. We're full blown in this thing right now. You guys are just along for the ride. We were talking about Mitch Hedberg. One of his favorite jokes that he does, the way you said, he went that way, made me think of it. When he does this joke, he's like, I was watching a late night infomercial and they said that you could get it for 4 easy payments of $19.95. He's like, what if I don't want 4 easy payments? He's like, what if I want 3 easy payments and 1 fucking complicated payment? He's like, the first 3 payments are $19.95. The 4th payment, we require wampum. It's like from now on, that's all I can ever think of too is 3 easy payments and 1 fucking complicated payment. She'll be right. So, guys and gals, it's late. We've been doing this too long. I'm getting giggly. Also, I am dying. Luckily, like you can't see all the sweat on my shirt, but it is there. Trust me. All of me is sticky because it is very hot in here. I got to figure out something to do in here because it isn't even that hot outside.
No.
So maybe I'll put a hole in the floor and get one of those portable ACs because I don't want to put a hole in anything else because there's insulation. Thought about putting a window shaker in here. Then I'd have to make a window. So, yeah. Corrigan Oil Speedway tomorrow. Since I'm not racing tomorrow, I think I'm going to go live. But maybe, or at least film. I think maybe I'll film tomorrow. Try to do like a day at the track with the Ben Ferris. Saturday, plan is Wasso. Even if the worst case happens tomorrow and your car's not available, we're still probably going to go to Wasso, just to hang out. Because, yeah. So if you can make either race, awesome. Come see us. We'll have stuff for you. Well, he will, because I don't have any stickers. Because look, I didn't plan this out that well. That's why we spent an hour I spent like 25 minutes looking for this microphone, and it was over there in a box. Sorry, Katie. I blame my wife for it. So yeah. But yeah, so glad to see the guys that we have. We're gonna do this some more. Maybe tomorrow after the races, we'll go live in subscriber group or something. We'll do something fun. So we'll do some subscriber stuff. So, but yeah. So Ryan says, "Good luck, Ben. It was a pleasure to meet you." And Charles says, "You guys have fun and be safe." That's the plan. So
Thank you. Let's get it on. Let's do it. The racing. I was talking about the racing.
my belt's already undone. She'll be right.
Even I got that one.
Hold on.
He had a glint in his eye.
Oh no, that's not the one.
He had the weirdest look in his eye, and at one point he said, "Let's get it on." That was about the fighting. I'm totally not a racer. It's a good night to finish on.
I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Hit the like button. Or yeah, shit, at this point, you can hit the dislike button, I think. So thank you guys all for being here. I promise you'll see some more of me and Ben before he takes off. Yeah, thanks for watching. Love you guys. See you soon.